We're going to commence the Town of Sangerville Board of Selectmen meeting, December 6, 2017, 5 o'clock. We will start with Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to hold on item 2. Table. Item 3, review of treasurer's warrants. A, payroll, 185, 188, 189, and 196. B, accounts payable, 182, 183, 184, 186, 187, 191, 192, 193, 194, 195.
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor? C, we will revisit. Open session.
She's actually on under number 7A.
Okay.
So if we want to take 7A.
We'll move right to 7A, new business. Linda Hall.
You have the budget in your stack, but it's in the order.
I have copies.
You have copies? Okay.
Thank you.
You need copies? You
Yeah.
don't have one.
I think we do.
They have them, but they're in their stack, all mixed in order.
Oh, is
I
this
have
it?
them according,
That's
yeah,
it.
that's
I got it. Okay.
How'd you do this quick?
What I have to say is really quite brief. I usually do the presentation to the budget committee, but I won't be here to do that. And it's not that I want to make a budget presentation to you like I did to them. I basically would like to make sure that our request gets on the warrant. And I understand that you have the final say as to what goes on the warrant. That is pretty much what I have to say. We're asking for $18,052, which is $52 more than what we've been given for the last 6 years. So,
That's not much of a costume.
well, we asked for more in the past years, but that's all the town could give us. And but this year, that is what it comes out to, and a lot of that is because they're not paying me after 20 years. They're paying Leslie at a lower rate. So, and we felt that we wanted to make sure that the people of the town got a chance to vote on it as it is. I know that they can lower it, and I know that they can't raise it, but we would like to have them have the chance. And I didn't know whether the budget committee might reduce it or do away with it altogether or whatever. And that's one of my reasons for making the request, is that it go on the warrant and let the people of Sangerville vote.
You're correct. If the budget committee wanted to reduce this, they could, but we're not obligated necessarily to follow that.
Right.
So this will be presented to them as what you're asking for,
Yes.
and we'll go from there.
They will get this.
Yep. Thank you.
We'll leave you to your meeting.
Oh, all right.
There you go.
You're gonna miss all the good stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, I start to smell that in here. Sorry, folks. Oh, close it out.
Do you want to stay with item 7 going down? You being next?
We can do that.
Okay.
Somewhere in this stack you have, right after the library thing, you
Yeah.
will find my, it's just, I didn't do the whole contract, just the front page and the back page. So it says under item 3, compensation, 47,500 plus 2,500 in lieu of health insurance. So because I'm going to opt to take the health insurance, I need to forfeit that 2,500 out of my salary. And then under item A, it says at the end of the first 6 months, that's when we should do our review. I know we did a review earlier, but we shouldn't have because it wasn't 6 months. December is actually the 6 month period. So at our next board meeting, we will have to do another review for my 6 month review.
Now, this 2,500, I assuming you're prorating it.
By the hour. I just took 50,000 and divided by 2,080 and got it by the hour $1.
Well, I
And
guess the way I was looking at it is, if we use 6 months, half of 2,500, you should have received because you didn't have insurance, and now the second half, you're not gonna receive, so it would be 1,250. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Way I
that
look at
makes,
that?
yes.
So
that
your
makes sense.
reduction is for the next,
Cause you won't start having health insurance until January 1st,
Right.
so,
so that's when the adjustment I would
Right.
prorate the adjustment, is what I'm saying. And, how were you, was that how you were?
Well, that was just gonna take the 47,500 and divide it by the 2,080 and figure it out by the hour and just adjust it that way.
See, I would do it, I would say 2,500 divided by 52 weeks,
Oh, that's on,
or 6 months.
yep,
Meaning you.
half of it, it
Yeah.
would be half.
right.
You get half, so,
Half is a benefit, you get,
right.
So your total adjustment for your remainder of your contract is 1,250.
right,
Yeah, that seems fair to
Right.
me.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, realistically, that's what the
That's-
47.5 should have, my thought would have been, that number had been divided by 52.
Right.
That's what got paid out for salary. This other number is
Is-
25 divided by 52, that got added to that.
right,
Now
Yep.
with the 6 month, this number's not there, you just keep going
Yep.
with the original.
Yep,
it's half.
yep.
Okay.
As far as your review, I would put that on the agenda for next,
Yes.
we can, do we wanna start, we wanna meet early or late?
It's actually gonna be one day after my 6 months.
Okay, so,
Okay,
but I'm
no,
guessing,
but-
when do we want,
Cause
do
we
we
have
wanna
to go
meet
into
at 4:30?
executive session.
You go to executive session?
I don't care.
Yeah,
That's up
that
to
works
you.
for me.
I think that's,
What about you, Dale?
4:30 is fine?
Yep, should be
Okay, so
4:30.
I would put that on the agenda that we'll
So not next week, but the week after.
yeah,
December 20th.
December 20th, okay.
December 20th.
Okay, so that came over here. Too many papers.
Oh,
It's
yes.
over here.
Okay,
C, Cutler Way and Farm Pond Road.
So the gentleman that lives on Bean Hill Road, he owns a home and he has a mobile home next door to it. I mean, they share a driveway, home, mobile home. And so when I called the 911, he called, he wants an address for the mobile home. He's letting his kids stay there, so he wants an address. And the only way we can do that, because they share a driveway, is to name the driveway and give them a number according to our 911 system. So, yes, really. And somebody asked, well, there's a lot of places in town. Yes, but this gentleman asked for an address specifically for the mobile home. So, and they.
So that's all one deeded property.
Let's see, do you have to do a subdivision?
That's where I was going.
I asked George, and I told him the situation, and I said, do I have to bring this to the planning board? And he said, nope.
Can we get clarification?
Do you think that's the way it would work?
I don't know.
I don't think you can, because
I
how big
would
is a
ask-
lot, do you know that?
Yeah,
Their
I-
lot? I don't know, it's on Bean Hill Road, I mean, it's.
Yeah, but there
Yeah,
could
but
be,
still,
it
could
could be
be-
a half acre lot,
Well,
it could be 60
The
acres.
driveway is 350 feet long,
Oh, that's probably a big lot.
so it's,
oh, yeah.
But it
It
could just
sits
be
out
right away,
there.
we don't know. I mean, that,
yeah.
I think we're all kind of thinking, what if this is like a half acre lot? Do we have a minimum lot size though?
Sure, we do, 2 acre.
2 acres?
I'm pretty sure it's 2
In-
acre.
I
Oh,
didn't think you had any.
I thought-
no, only in town.
Only in town.
And it's only like number of feet, isn't it?
Alright, so we don't know.
No, we don't know, I guess.
Okay.
I would have been very confident, but now I
I'm
don't
going to
know.
my
I know.
lifelong
I'm getting
member
a
of the
look, so I
planning
know
board.
that.
I don't think you have a land use ordinance.
No, we don't.
We don't.
We don't. We don't.
So there's no state minimum, is that fair to say?
That is fair to say.
So he
Right.
might be able to just carve off 100 by 100 and make a house lot out of it.
I don't think he's making a house lot, I think he just,
He,
giving an address.
yeah, but
He's gotta rent property.
what comes next? A house lot.
If you see this, it's not, I mean, literally, they're probably a car's width.
Well, that actually
Then why
concerns
does
me
he
more.
want a separate address?
So, I mean, realistically, I could,
I mean,
I could put 3 or 4 trailers on my home.
Let's back up for a minute. though.
yeah,
I'm
Do
asking,
we have any jurisdiction on this? Do we get to say whether he has an address or not? I don't think
Well,
so.
I wanted to just CYA because you don't have any policy that says
That's my
That's
gut
why I
feeling.
wanna
who
go to Jerry.
names
I'd go
anything.
I'd want
I'd ask
Jerry's
Jerry.
crew to sign off on it.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
has nothing
yeah.
to do with us.
yeah,
Now,
yeah.
if Jerry says it has something to do with us, then
No.
we'll have to get involved.
Yeah, no, we'll throw it over to Jerry.
Yeah.
Take care of it.
If Jerry likes it, Jerry's gonna bless it.
Yeah.
And then George and Jerry work hand in hand,
Right.
when does
Right.
George leave for the winter?
I think he's gone.
so they'll have
There
their
you
address
go.
in the spring.
No, Jerry makes decisions while George is gone, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they've
yeah.
done, I'm
Well, we
sure
have a
Jerry's
backup.
dealt with this.
We have, when George is gone, we have another guy that George supposedly has set up.
Oh,
So,
Yes, Brian, I think it's Brian, I don't know what the last name is, but I think the guy's name is Brian.
okay. But anyway, I think it's good because it gives Jerry the ability to check out what's
It's right
going
in
on.
his wheelhouse.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think.
And I don't think it's in our wheelhouse.
is
Yeah,
that the
no,
other
no.
part of this too?
So the other part of this is Farm Pond Road, down on Hartford Lane. This is one that Ken Woodbury did. And it is actually only a driveway. It is a long, it would be like, it's 50 feet for every number when you're numbering the houses. And so the house would actually be numbered 25. So you multiply that by 50, that's how far in that driveway is. They're the only house on this driveway.
Is that the straight in, very last one?
No, it's the one that turns off, and there is a road sign there. This is my issue. There's a road sign that says Farm Pond Road. Well, I don't know who purchased the road sign, whether the town did or the homeowner did. I know that it was addressed to Ken, and supposedly he approved it, but it's not in the 911 system that the state has. It's
Who
labeled.
lives in there?
I didn't print her information off. It's
You know
she's an
who it
elderly
is?
lady.
Oh.
The husband passed away, and
Oh, she's not elderly. She works, isn't that the one,
Yeah, isn't it?
yes, it is, I'm just right where you are.
Hartford.
Yes,
no, it's not Hartford though, is it?
He was a Hartford. The
That's
Hartford
not-
gentleman passed away.
Mike Hartford.
Yeah.
And his wife,
In a beautiful home out there.
Yes, very.
That's what I was,
beautiful.
yeah.
And it looks over a pond.
Farm Pond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
She's
again
the-
though,
she's a
is
branch
this
manager
our
at Bank
purview?
of Dover.
Oh,
Well, and so this is my issue: is it shouldn't be named that.
right.
See, I'm thinking it's an older person because it's the kids that are concerned because she's living there by herself and they don't want her living there by
Sure.
herself in the wintertime. It's the grandmother or something. I'm not sure 100%. I didn't get the whole, that I've had on my desk since June.
Okay.
But I don't know what to do with it. I mean, I
I
know
would
it's
ask
not.
Jerry, cause I bet even Jerry
Yeah.
would know more
Yeah.
about road names and how
Yeah.
and whys, and
Yep.
I always thought that was Hartford Lane all the way in there.
If you go straight in, it does, I mean, I'm assuming it goes to a house, but that Farm Pond
Goes to the
road
left,
goes to the right.
wait a minute, goes to the right.
Can't go very far.
It goes right to their house.
Oh, so maybe it is a different, maybe
When you
we're
say go to
thinking,
the right, is that overlooking, when you go down in there, is there like a big building in front of you, then you go to the right? Is that what you're saying? Cause when you get almost
Yeah.
into Hartford's, into Mike Hartford's place, there was almost
Yeah.
like, was it a big, like, airplane hangar.
right,
Yeah, I
right.
Then you
think
swing
so.
to the right.
You can just barely see that there are buildings down there if you wide to the left.
But I think,
But this is a 90-degree turn to the
but you're
right.
still all on the same property. Quite certain.
I don't know, I don't think so.
You know, a lot of land in there.
And there's a, like a state signage.
Well, it's
We don't
it's
know.
one of
Oh,
those green,
Anybody can buy a sign.
Yeah, you
well,
can,
that's it, anybody could buy it, so that's why I'm saying, I
But
don't
you
know
don't
if we
show
bought
it on our town records as,
No,
well, you did
it's-
mention Ken Woodbury.
Well, I was informed that it was done by Ken Woodbury, but that was never changed in our tax records. And when I go online, the 911
have you talked
addressing.
with her,
The owner.
the lady?
I have not personally talked to them. They have come in and spoke to Doreen.
What do they want to have happen?
Yeah, that was.
They want to keep the Farm Pond Road.
Okay,
But my issue is, it's not on the 911 state system. And so the concern is if an ambulance has to go down there, they're not gonna find it because there's a road sign that says Farm Pond Road. It doesn't say Hartford Lane.
Okay, but my concern is this, that's Hartford Lane going in there. There's not very many landowners in there.
Right.
I'm pretty sure this all falls, a lot of this falls under their driveway, not a
yeah,
road.
that's what I'm guessing.
So it's not up to us to name their driveway anyway.
I mean, if you decided to name your driveway,
'cause I was
That's what I'm
thinking
saying,
my
where's
wheels
that
were-
tax map?
you
To where
can,
they
right?
own,
Right.
don't think it applies. I really don't. I mean,
You mean naming, like this Cutler Way as a driveway?
no, this farm,
Farm Pond Road.
Yeah. It's probably, I mean, that's why this was called Hartford Lane,
Right.
because they owned it.
Well, that's my thought. I mean,
So once you
Harvard
keep-
Lane is not a town way, is that correct?
that is correct.
Correct.
Okay. So neither would town,
Farm Pond Road.
And Cutler Way would not be a town road either.
Right.
I mean, that's,
Right.
but 911 wants you to name something that has more than one residence on it. It doesn't mean it becomes town way, it just means it has a name so that they can put it in their
Sure.
system.
So,
and find it.
I guess why would we object to naming it what they want it to be?
Well, the Cutler Way, I agree, I mean, it's two, but the issue that I have on the Farm Pond Road is it's only one
One person, one resident?
resident.
Well, it's like I mean, seriously.
just
So it's a
driveway.
driveway.
It's a drive-
It's a driveway.
exactly.
Right.
Off
It is.
of
But,
Hartford
I mean,
Lane.
Hartford Lane is,
Yeah.
I mean,
I
Cutler
mean,
Way would be.
but when you
driveway
drive down
too.
Hartford Lane, when you get to this, you just go around the corner and you go to the house.
Right.
You're not deviating off from anything.
Right.
Right,
And I really think if you look at a map, the tax map, to where you're talking about, it's driveway. I don't think it's anything for us to decide on.
It's a private way
well, so what,
with no easement.
well,
probably.
what I would like to do though is say, you need to take out your road sign. You're
That's
59
great.
Hartford Lane.
That's really what they are, probably.
That's their
It
address.
is,
That's-
it is, it's
right.
59 Hartford Lane is
Yeah.
their address.
Yeah.
But they
have
can leave
this
their
farm
sign
lot.
up if they want.
That's not up to
Yeah,
us.
but does that
But then the
confuse the
911?
911?
That's-
Yeah, you can't
well,
have,
I
And that's the whole issue is their
It's like horse
concern.
heaven though, does that mean they've not fined you because you put that up? You know,
but
that
it's
guy was
pretty
Swampy Acres.
serious.
Yeah,
Swampy
yeah.
Acres.
Seriously, no, it's Dusty Acres.
Well, he took it down.
He did take it down.
Because it's wet.
Oh, he did, I didn't notice that, honestly.
They'll be going back up in the spring.
Yeah,
But I
no, he
think-
did. They called us, that guy that put the camp in down by Hartford Lane,
Yeah.
that's their little hunting camp, and so it's all swamp around, and he called it Swampy
Swampy
Acres.
Acres.
Then we did the road work in
Oh,
front
I
of his
remember
house,
that.
turned it into Dusty
He
Acres.
hung a sign up over it, says Dusty.
Yeah.
I said, okay, what are you gonna call it when it's, winter time?
Hey,
Icy acres.
But this woman's address, is it 59 Hartford right
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
Well, then I
Which
think
tax,
it's fine.
tax bill says that?
Yeah. Tax map says
I
that.
think they can call it Mickey Mouse Lane if they want to. If
I don't think
it's
it's
a
up to
private
us to-
way, we can't tell
As
them
long
they can
as
sign
the
down.
59 is up so that
But that's not-
E911 can get.
That's not up to us
A
either.
different
No,
relative
no,
is
you're right.
insisting that we change it to Hartford Lane in
Yeah.
our
If
system.
the
No,
person that's,
to Farm Pond Lane Road.
Yeah, Farm Pond Road.
I would
Oh,
talk
no,
with
no,
the
no, no.
actual landowner, and so that would be a different,
Okay.
you know, I mean,
Again, I really
It's
question
not
whether it's
our-
our jurisdiction.
I
No.
don't think it is.
Nope.
There's
I mean,
probably,
tax
there's
map,
probably
everything
a
we have says
process.
it's 59 Hartford Lane,
Yeah, you're known as 59 Hartford Lane.
through us, through
Right.
911.
That's how how you're
Yeah.
gonna get your tax bill.
That's right.
Right,
You know,
And you
it-
better,
But it's
yeah.
no different than Swampy Acres, that's their sign.
Right.
That's still whatever,
Right.
589 Silver's Mills Road.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Alright, there, we've really come to
Jeez,
some conclusions here
Important
today.
stuff. Almost as important as the manure spreader.
We're gonna get there, but first of all, it's Silver's Mills paving, item D.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so Silver's Mills paving. Oh my. Pike is gonna carry our price for the $65 a ton for the 12.5 mils and $70 a ton for 9.5 and 19. And I think he did everything on French's Mill at 12.5. So $65 a ton, I think that's a pretty good deal, considering I got a letter like the day before he told me that says,
Hang on next year.
Oil has gone up a lot.
4%.
Whoa.
4% increase.
increase on aggregate.
Yeah.
So he's gonna
On
hold
average.
it till the spring, for the spring.
So he will hold it for the spring.
Hmm.
So,
The bad part, I got a question, so I'm gonna think about it.
okay.
We have a policy, we have to put this out for bid.
Yeah,
We had a contract on Silver's Mills with Pike,
I understand that was under this.
and we did
budgetary-
not
this
fulfill.
but it won't matter. If 65 is a great deal, you're gonna blow them out of the water anyway.
As long as we can get the, but you wanna get that bid going out
Sure.
very soon, so we get this, use this
Lock it
price.
in.
Right.
Under this bid process. is
Right,
what I'm
I
saying.
totally agree.
So, next couple of weeks, before the end of the year, we need to bid out for next year's paving.
Well, we gotta do, don't we have to go through the whole budgetary process first? We need the budget committee to weigh in and, I mean, I guess we can bid.
You can bid. I would wanna lock in that number. I would not wanna put a bid out in the spring and him realizing that, oh yeah, you do have to rebid, I don't have to hold that price. Cause he wouldn't have to hold that price.
Right.
Well, that's not a
That's-
bad idea.
That's my question, I
Sure.
don't wanna
Because we
see
know
us
we
not be able
have
to
to
accept
bid.
that.
We know we have to bid.
We do.
So why not get in front of it? And we can even, you can even put language in there that essentially stipulates that. We're doing this because we have to have a bid.
Right.
Town
Right.
policy.
Well, you can ask for bid per ton. We don't know what our dollar number, we don't know if we're gonna have 150,000 to spend, so you can ask for bids per ton, not per total.
Yeah, I like that.
Can we word it projected
Yeah, sure.
project?
Yeah.
Sure, we have a
Sure.
Will
Estimate,
be-
max min. You know, it's not gonna be more than 2 miles.
Right,
It's not gonna be less than 1.
Yeah,
okay.
that way there, I just like the idea of officially
Plus,
having.
we'll
our
have
bid.
real numbers for the budget committee.
That's right.
And do we wanna put it in the paper? Or do we want to direct?
It's totally up to you. That's your call. If you feel like you need to put it in paper to get the results that you need, spend the money. If you don't, make the calls.
You know the list, I mean, if you're not comfortable mailing it, or emailing it, I mean, I would think in this day and age, you could fax it, you can email
Oh,
it, you
yeah.
know, but I mean, you got all
You
kinds of
can
options.
call enough people in the amount of time it would take you to write the ad.
Oh.
I would suspect, but.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
My only thing is if you actually can email something, or you can fax something,
Yeah, so there's.
then you
paper
have
trail.
documentation
Yep, yep.
that says, I
Yeah, did it.
I reached out to these
Right.
four
Reached out
and
to these
they
4,
all got
5,
the
10,
same
whatever.
specs and, yep.
Alright, so do we want just to do the 12.5 mil per ton? No, we'll have to have all
I would.
the pricing because the
yeah,
binder.
Each
is
one on
gonna
the
be more.
criteria, yep.
Yeah,
Actually, you already know what you need to do there. You know how many tons of binder you need, right?
Approximately.
yeah, I think so, I have it.
But I mean, you could just say that approximately for that binder, and then the other is till we run out of
Cause
money.
I could see, if we could get a good enough deal, I could see the board presenting something to the town. That maybe we take a little out of reserves and buy while we get a
Well,
sale
we
price.
have a-
But we'd need to have all of our ducks in a row to do that.
Well, and the other thing too is, and I would put it in somehow, worded in the bid, that the reason we're doing it this way is we would like to be one of the first towns to be paving in the spring.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because a lot of these guys, most towns can't get to the towns, they're just kinda sitting there waiting. Basically, they're doing driveways until they can get to the state work and then start getting to town work.
We've always been in a position where we didn't have enough ditching and culvert work done to
Correct.
even bid, so this year's, we're in a unique position.
But I wonder, even with Pike, if he knew the second he could fire that plane, he could come here, he may even be able to do a little better.
well, that's true. I mean, he's the one that kept saying, you know, if you get your bid in early and you want the paving done by June 30th, he says you're gonna beat the rush.
And I don't have a
Uh-huh.
problem, he could put that, these entities that are bidding could put those stipulations in, I got a prior to June 30 price, I got
Right, yeah, yeah.
you know,
Sure.
July 1
Right.
price.
And I would, yeah, and ask for, you know,
As soon as.
Any breaks that are available, we wanna know about them.
That's right, because we're ready to go.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have a little bit of work to do, but
Yeah.
we got plenty of time to get it done before June 30th.
Right.
Right. So
I
that
like
was, okay. So a further part of that conversation then is, I know it's approximately 2.2 miles from Hartford Lane to where, it's not all the way to Brockway Mills, it's where the last
it's pretty close.
paving
Yeah,
was
it's almost
done.
there.
It's, yeah. Do you want to shim only at 1.25, or do you want to shim and pave, shim and overlay? I calculated cause I went on the Pike's website and they have a calculator on there. If you put 2 inches of paving for 2.2 miles, it was 189,000.
190,000 for 2 miles, roughly.
Of paving.
Of 2 inches
That's
of
not
2
shim.
inches. Well, you can break it up, right?
You're gonna use a lot of shim on that road.
I know you are.
I mean, I'm not exaggerating,
Oh, I know.
since we've ditched it, since that is ditched, you travel that
It's
road.
less attractive?
Oh my God, and you travel it at nighttime, it is the scariest road you'll ever go on. There's gotta be places we're gonna use 9-10 inches.
Oh,
shim.
God.
Yes,
Oh,
it's bad.
it's,
But will
Really?
if they're gonna bid it, they're gonna come out and look at it,
Well, I
right?
would hope so.
Yeah,
I honestly, and I really think I would reach out to Pike, cause I mean, I would like to think you got a little bit of a rapport with him after
I
this year.
do.
I would reach out to him and tell him have him ride it. What do you recommend? The volume of shim we gotta put in, are we better off to shim and then, or what's he tell us we ought to do? I mean, it's almost to
he
the point
knows-
you put gravel in it. Seriously, you got 12 inches there.
Oh, he
places.
says reclaim. He does say reclaim. He said that to me one day we were riding it.
that's gonna change your price.
That's gonna massively increase your price.
Correct.
That's what they did on my road, and it
But-
was a mess.
Was it?
Yeah, we had debris. on
In
the
this
side.
situation, honestly, you flip the coin, cause the cost it's gonna cost you to reclaim it, you're gonna pay it in shim. Cause you're not gonna shim when you reclaim.
No.
And that's the numbers that I would like to hear from him. My only concern with him is, and I would make sure you know this firsthand as well, there is no gravel on that road.
Well, that was the
Well,
whole,
that's-
when we
yeah.
talked to Phil, reclaiming on these non-road roads,
Right,
it
there's
doesn't make a
nothing-
lot of
Right,
sense.
there's
Right.
nothing to
He says
reclaim,
shim
really.
it, pave it, at least you're making your material
You're making
thicker.
base.
10 years from now, you do it again.
I completely agree with that whole thought process if you're putting in 3 or 4 inches. But that road where you're putting in 10 or 12, that's why I would like to have Pike's opinion.
You definitely. you should
And even
look at
Phil, I would even have him involved in this conversation.
it. I agree.
And
It
then-
helps if you at least, if you got 2 people that are looking at it the same way and say, yeah, that's definitely the way I'd go on that. The logic, when we were with Phil, his logic, it seemed sound. I mean, if you're
Very.
pulling out material to end up with nothing but silt and rotten
Sure.
stumps, that doesn't
Right.
make any sense.
Right.
Correct.
Because none of these roads were built
Right.
properly to start with.
Right, so you
So there's
reclaim
nothing-
an expensive process and churn this into silt and mud.
Yeah,
Well, and then you end up having to add the gravel to
Right.
mix with
right.
it. Which, so then you're paying gravel to reclaim.
So I suspect they'll probably lean that way, but I think we should have
Me too.
verification.
I think there's enough of an expense there that it wouldn't hurt to have.
So you're looking at 200 grand to do that piece.
No, she's 200 grand to pave. That's not shim.
200,000 for 2 inches
A pavement.
of pavement. Shim
But
and
you wouldn't
pavement's the
put
same
in
thing.
2
It's the
inches
same
if you
after
shimmed.
aggregate.
I'm assuming you wouldn't put in 2 inches if you shim.
Yes.
You wouldn't have to. Well, then I adjusted it to 1 1/4, and it was 120.
Drive, if you leave here, you go to Guilford, they put 1 inch on this road.
The state.
And it's already all cracked.
Is
Yeah,
it?
no, that's another thing that Phil talked to us about.
Yeah.
Putting in too
Painting.
little is a waste of money.
And
Right,
that's, honestly, that's why I.
Save your money until you can do 2 inches.
that's
2
right,
inches.
that's right, that was,
Yeah. It's exponential, how much more weight it will support.
right.
Yeah.
I would bet that shim is gonna be 3/4 of the cost of the pave. So if you're saying it's 200,000 to shim, to pave that, I bet it's
Well, we'll find out.
150,000 shim.
We will find out.
I mean, you got 10, 12 inches is a lot of it, so by the time you take that out,
But your pike guy
Are you
should be able to ride that and
exaggerating?
give you an
10,
idea
12 inches?
immediately.
But I have to then ride
mean
out with
what?
all of them, right?
Where?
Anybody that wants to
go to New.
bid
Yes,
on it,
they
I'm
should
going
ride
to
it.
have to ride it with
Or they
everybody.
just give them the directions, they should be able to ride it, look at it,
Right.
from Hartford Lane to the bridge.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
You're
Basically,
right on
it,
the-
Brockway, it's right there.
yeah.
If it went the other way, we would be in deep trouble.
All right,
And I
so,
think Phil is a good resource,
I don't mind.
good place to
using-
start.
I think it's like any of these things that we've all learned, the more people you talk to,
That's
yes,
right, and you
you're
get a
gonna different
consensus, but,
Opinions, but you gotta take what you can do.
right,
Well, particularly hard for us when we don't really
don't
know.
know.
right,
But I think getting this done before the budgetary process is really
Really
smart,
Good.
Sure.
so.
The other thing is the 800-foot section that we know. So a different pipe guy came yesterday, and I just quickly told him this is what I'm looking at, and what does he recommend? And quickly off the top of his head, he said, put a foot of gravel on. He said, but I'll be back tomorrow. He said, and I'll go look at it. So he actually came back today, and he went and looked at it, and he says it's good. He says, if you put down 2 inches, 2 or 3 inches over it, just before they pave it and grade it, he says, you'll be fine. He's not concerned. That's what Chet,
That's a 180.
right? That's what Chet from Pike told me today. But because remember where Travis broke up the ends of that,
Yes,
and we had to take that
yep.
out, and now there's gravel in there, so the biggest concern is the joint. It's not this aggregate that's under that. It's the joint connection and how they're going to connect into that. That's Pike's biggest objective to that.
My other thing too,
Area.
when we, since, and this isn't again about any contractor, this is basically about us and what Phil recommended to us, which at the time seemed really good, which now after you drive the road was really bad. We never should have stopped
In the
where we
middle of
did.
it, right,
We should have carried that.
No, that whole thing needs to be reconfigured, I agree with that.
Correct.
to the, yeah.
We created a,
A double dip.
Yeah.
it is better than it was.
It is, but you should crest the knoll and it should just flow. Now it's like you crest the knoll, you come down and then you know what I mean? It would be a
But
lot.
that's gonna be a lot of material. I mean, that's a budgetary item that is gonna leave a mark.
No, I don't think.
I bet you're gonna spend as much as you already spent there.
No. Ain't that far.
It's quite a lot of elevation if you come up towards Hartford.
Depends on how much you
No,
put
not
in
Hartford's
there.
the other way.
So
Well, you
like
gotta- you
Blaine's
gotta-
driveway?
Yes,
At Blaine's, so you've got the 880 feet or whatever it is,
800, yeah.
and then Blaine's, it drops off, and then you're back
Yeah.
up again where you get to the
Are
driveway.
you gonna raise the height in the middle?
I wouldn't. I would take rate, myself personally, the way I would view that is if you take from where we stopped, the hot top, and remove that to the top of the knoll, and then just have that so it's smooth, it's graded even. I wouldn't bring everything up to it, I would just get rid of that little dip that's in the middle. I wouldn't think that that's gonna be a huge amount of, yes, there's gonna be an expense to remove the hot top, but.
So, to be clear, because I've been told repeatedly that you can't pave over 2 inches of gravel that's
Right.
sitting on unbroken pavement. Now you're being told, yeah, you can do that.
well, not 2 inches. I had a meeting with the road committee on Monday, and they said 4 to 6 inches over the pavement.
No, I'm
should
more
be-
interested, not to disparage the road, I'm more interested in what Pike says. The guys are actually gonna do the paving.
Well, and I said to him, I said, we've only got like 4 inches, and he said, if you don't have, he said, watch it. In the spring, if any big chunks come to the top, then you have a problem.
Well, that's, if it's not broken up much, I don't think it will move. But what we
Right.
were concerned with originally, the whole reason that it was gonna be broken up is you'd have this, the way he explained, was a shearing effect. If you put pavement on a half an inch of gravel or 2 inches of gravel, that's gonna move
Right.
on top of the old pavement. So you had to break it up and mix it with your aggregate, and now the whole thing, now we're being told, nah, that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, different guy.
That's scary to me,
Yeah,
cause it's so completely different.
Right?
My only thing is, and I mean, I understand if you were talking 2 inches over this hot top, I would think that's a problem.
yeah.
Because this is smooth, it's solid.
Right.
If we did absolutely nothing to that road and just put the gravel over it, I mean, that hot top was already 4 to 6 inches. It was
In
all
places, but.
correct. in
Where he
places.
broke it up, so we actually broke it up obviously more than it
Correct.
was. We had pieces bigger than this notebook.
Correct.
So those are just like putting big rocks in your road. They're gonna migrate up, I mean, that's not, I don't know if it was broken like that underneath there or not. But you go from 0 gravel to approximately 10 inches in the middle now. So, and one group of people have told us, you cannot do that, and now I got a guy saying, sure, go for it.
I got the pit, I don't have them on this phone, and I see if I can get them off my other phone. Last year, when they paved up past your house, when they reclaimed that, they didn't reclaim to the center. They left
Oh, God.
6 inches, basically.
It's because they were so rutted.
Yeah. So there was like 6 inches in the middle that they kind of, places it was reclaimed, and I got pictures, there was chunks of hot top, foot and a half long, 6 inches wide, right up the center of that road, they paved it over it.
Oh,
I would be curious, what your original Pike, because your original Pike guy
Okay.
said, if the guy has any questions, call me.
Right.
He was very specific.
Exactly,
He didn't
was.
say, oh, if the guy has any questions, you don't have to worry about it.
Right,
Because
we
now
gotta-
the same company's giving you conflicting
yeah.
advice.
Because
Yeah.
now the transition end, at least on the Newt's end, that chopped up hot top was removed and that's all gravel.
Correct, both
Yep,
ends.
both ends were
Both
cleaned
ends,
up.
we cleaned
So we
them
know
up.
we were at least 4 to 6 inches of gravel between that and even if it wasn't broken up, the crap hot top or whatever you wanna call the hot top. that's
Well, there actually, he took out the big pieces and replaced it with gravel and compacted it. But where the original transition ended, he didn't touch that.
Right.
So that original transition's a 1/2 inch gravel.
Right.
Now, I don't
Still.
know when I
Yes.
kicked it with my boot, it had not been touched. And when I spoke to the contractor, I said, listen, I kicked back to 2 or 3 inches, probably gonna equal like at least a yard on each end, and I didn't see anything broken up. He said, oh, there's gonna be a lot more than a yard on each end. I said, so I'm going in deeper. He said, yeah, a lot deeper. That he said he didn't break it up. That's what got this whole thing rolling as to whether it was important or not.
oh, yeah, yeah.
So I really think before we just say, oh, okay, we're great, Pike needs to be consistent on this. Because they're the ones that directed us and said, if your guys have questions, call us.
Right, right.
So if they called, what was the guy's name
Chet.
yesterday?
Chet.
If they called Chet, he would say, you're good to go.
So what's the name of the person up until now? that-
Jeff Mullis.
Jeff. So, and Chet showed up because Jeff was,
He was out schmoozing, bringing
Oh.
calendars.
Calendars, salesman.
Is he
So-
But he was on French's Mill when they were paving.
No,
He was with Jeff.
Jeff and
Just
Chet
double
need to
clarification.
reconcile, that's all.
that's right, that's, and I think that, I
It's a
think
lot
you
of
can-
money.
I think you can say, you have to come to a conclusion.
Right.
And
Right.
If
We're gonna
both
go-
Jeff and Chet say, yeah, no, you're fine, I'd say we're fine.
Right.
Because if it shears, we'll just call them.
That's right,
That's right,
that's right.
that's right.
But,
I talked to Steve the other day and he said, told me, he says, it is what it is for right now and until spring, you're not gonna know.
Well, I totally
yeah.
agree with
yeah,
Well, and that was
we know.
basically what Chet said was,
Let it
if
go.
something comes
But
up, then you're
if
gonna have a problem.
Jeff's position is the sound position, we do know. We do know that ultimately it would have to be broken up. If Chet's right, we don't have a problem with his bill.
Who's gonna decide who's
Yeah.
right in this conversation?
Well, one of those
Yeah.
guys has gotta yield, because they both work for the same company.
That's right.
And they've been pounding us on this.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't make good decisions without good information.
No,
And in this, what you're talking about right now, this is one more example, you will ask 5 people.
And you'll get
and
5
you
different
5 different
answers.
answers.
No,
That's the problem.
I totally agree with that. It's just, if you go into the company that's doing the paving, it's unbelievable to me that it can be that different.
Yeah, he said just add, 2 or 3 inches, grade it and.
It's like one
Cause I
surgeon
mean, a
saying,
couple inches, we kinda already knew that, well, once we knew we weren't paving this.
but he
Kinda
just
already-
went out and looked at it. Does he know he knows the whole story about what we've
Well,
got
I-
going on?
Explained it to him.
Yeah.
it's like one doctor saying, I gotta take your arm, and the other one says,
That's right.
"Yeah, that's fine, you don't need to take that arm.
Yeah.
Both.
Okay, so we're gonna get some more clarification, and I don't, if all of Pike signs off, I have no problem with it.
Right. Okay.
Guess
We
where
were
does
at-
that leave us on D? We were on D. That's-
Yep.
Yeah,
we're
that's
on
correct,
the-
now we're on Public Works restructure.
You have papers.
Oh,
How deep? Public Works
have-
Director,
Yep, that's it, and the, before it.
the
This-
Division 12 training.
What?
I don't know, this is what I had before.
Yes, and then there's another
That's
one before
here,
that.
like this,
It's
yeah.
2-page,
Like this.
Okay. Yep. Now I got it.
and then the Public Works Director.
Okay.
So this is a preliminary budget for just the Public Works Department, and you can see that this year we had approved 404,000. The road committee would like to have 225,000 in the road improvement budget. And so that's, you'll see that jump of approximately 75,000. The other, funds that I've redispersed, I put some more in the grading account, you can,
Where's that?
up, under
Oh,
summer
I see
roads.
it, yep, I see it.
I move that to 12,000 instead of 5. Because you can see I went over, typically it's been running 7,000, but if we go by the mile, or, I mean, if we do all the roads versus here and there, we're not sure how much we're gonna run on that.
You said 12, I see 10. Do you see 10?
I see 10.
Yeah,
On grading?
yeah,
6190 to 10,000.
yep.
Alright. 10. I think I printed my copy and then I made a change and then I couldn't do it.
So do you want it to be 12 or?
No, it's
Okay.
fine. We can do 10.
That's our hope.
That's our hope.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I've left gravel the same because we do still have gravel roads, even though you can see we didn't spend much this year on gravel roads, but they do need some work.
Mm-hmm. I live on one.
Yeah. Salt, that's actually my winter salt budget. It should be down under the winter, but anyway, I'm leaving that the same. And I have that price that's expended, I have prepaid for one load so that it comes out of this budget, not next year's budget. So they will deliver later. The erosion control, they overspent by a couple of thousand, but I talked to Rick today and he said they still have 2 metric ton plus 51 50-pound bags. So.
Of what?
Calcium chloride for the gravel roads,
Oh,
for dust control.
oh, so that's what erosion control is?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay.
Let's see, where else did I change? Wages and salaries, I dropped it to 43,000. That gives me 1 full-time and 1 50% time. Now we can adjust that. If you feel that we don't need a 50% time, we won't meet. In the restructure, I'm saying, let's take out the director position, and have just a full-timer. Then, we're just above that, contract services, that's your winter plowing.
Uh-huh.
So if I add the 15,000 for in-town to the 87,000, 87, 97, it's like 103, 102. We don't know that the next year is gonna be the same, so I have to get that bid out as well for winter plowing so that we know what to budget.
Okay.
And I'm not sure part-timer how much to pay him. I know minimum wage is going up to, I believe, $10 an hour in January. So pay him minimum, pay him 12. I'm not sure where we're going with that.
Well, I think my biggest things I wanna know is when we restructure Public Works, what are we gonna be doing? What's our goal of Public Works?
Exactly. What is our goal of Public Works?
And I think that's before, even this whole line item right here
Which one?
of wages.
Yep.
Until we figure out what direction Public Works is gonna be going into, that's what's really gonna justify or tell you where this labor number needs to go. Because if we're just gonna, if we're gonna be putting out cold patch and cutting brush and
That's
doing
all-
things
that's
like
right.
that, we don't need $14 an hour people. You're talking minimum wage, $12 an hour people.
Right.
Nothing against anybody, but I mean, that skill set, you're not talking any type of really equipment operations.
No, but conversely, if you had found a person who could, work on equipment or could
Right.
drive a plow truck or had a Class A license that you could just call I'd pay him a good hourly rate.
That's.
Might not need him very often, but,
Right.
Right.
That's the other side of this. That's
Yeah.
why I'm saying.
I mean, we got trucks that have been sitting there for 2 weeks because we can't put a cable in them, and if a guy could do that, he's worth some money to this town. So it's really skill set.
Correct.
In fact, I wouldn't even limit it to one part-timer necessarily. If you said to us, I need a part-timer to help cut brush and shovel sidewalks. Okay, that's one skill set. I also have a part-timer who can operate a bulldozer and weld and do these things. Well, that's another guy, and he's totally, they're not using them to do the same thing. I think that would, you need to have kind of an arsenal of these guys, ideally.
Well, I don't see why, we do a lot of contract mowing. I know some of it takes a lot of people and it's a lot to
Right.
get some of it done. But other areas, it's not much. Why couldn't you hire high school or whatever kids at minimum wage that you only needed,
Right.
you're gonna mow 4 hours a week. I could use you 4 hours a week. You wanna come in for that? So it would still come out of this line item, but it wouldn't be a person and a half.
Right.
So you've got this guy, I'm gonna hire him for 10, he's gonna mow lawns, I'm gonna pay this guy, he's gonna help when we need him for doing brush, or whatever.
Right, I totally agree.
Or it might be the same person, I don't know, but I just think you've got totally different pay scales of.
You're gonna pay your bulldozer operator more money than the guy who's mowing the field.
Yeah.
But there again, I don't wanna pay the guy at the level to operate a bulldozer,
If he's mowing.
to push a lawnmower.
That's right.
Correct, no,
That's
you
right.
need different guys for that.
That's what I'm saying,
Right,
yes.
no,
Yeah.
and these are people that are essentially, per diem, you call
Right.
them when you need them,
Right.
so that should work.
But I think this all needs to be somehow more in line, this budget will pass, and everything is, when it can be explained better.
Yeah, well, I guess, the numbers may be perfectly fine, it's just how you're gonna implement it.
Correct.
And that's largely her job.
Correct.
I don't have a problem with you saying, hey, guess what, I just hired 2 high school kids, and one's gonna cut brush and one's gonna mow. Oh, okay. Oh, and I also hired a guy who is a diesel mechanic, and he's gonna give me a couple hours a week. Oh, okay, that's
Right.
management.
Correct.
And
Yep.
I think the board would be really comfortable if you could articulate just the way, I got these guys, I'm paying them minimum wage, they're gonna do these things. Periodically, this guy comes in, I pay him quite a bit, but you know what, he's really worth it because
Right.
he can do X,
He
Y, and
gets the
Z.
job done. And,
So when we see him on the
right,
bill list, it makes sense to us.
right.
But I think the important part that what we do have to do, or you have to do, is if we're gonna get rid of this, so we're not gonna have a director anymore.
Right.
Now we're gonna have a public works employee, is that what you're gonna call your full-time person?
Right.
Okay, so for that employee, we really need to come up with a detailed job description
Yes.
and requirements and pay scale.
Based on skill set.
But that way there, our employee knows.
Right, exactly what we expect to be done.
Right. And knows an idea of where his pay could end up.
No, and I have a serious, not really concerns, but the reality is, with the in-town plowing being contracted out this year, if we hit a spat of cold, dry weather, where, from January 6th to
Yeah.
February 1st, we don't get any snow and the ground's frozen, we're gonna have trouble giving a guy 40 hours a week.
Right.
We could be laying people off.
That's right.
And that, it might be hard to keep people like that, but that might be the reality of our situation.
But at the same breath, that's why I think it's important to get a job description written up. And that needs to be part of that.
No, but
It's so our employees, so they know that right now. We are restructuring, this is what's gonna happen, or this is what we're expecting to happen, and these are some of the ramifications.
yeah, no, and I think conversations of, be aware that this could happen.
Right.
That's fair, they should know that. It doesn't matter, obviously, to the high school kids mowing your lawn, but
Right.
No, I mean, they're gonna be just temporary part-time
Sure.
employees,
call them as you need them.
correct. No guarantee at all, I mean,
And did we resolve the fire department as far as weekends and,
Not yet.
okay.
You don't have a person that's gonna,
Just Rick.
oh, I thought you had a local person who had agreed to contract that with you. The plowing.
No. Clint Roden had offered his services through the town, but he does not have a Class B license.
Oh, you have to have a Class B license?
No.
No, yes.
No.
You have to have the proper license that you need to drive the vehicle.
Oh, he was
You
gonna
don't need
drive
Class
the
B
town's
license to drive
vehicle?
our truck.
No,
For the big one, you do.
he was gonna drive the town's vehicle.
The
Right,
5500, you don't need a Class B
Oh.
license.
right.
5500, anybody in this room can go drive that. All it is a glorified pickup.
So
But you-
okay,
You-
so,
You do need somebody to plow that at night.
Right. I'm working on it.
Okay.
so exactly what is that job? It's plowing right here and in front.
You're not gonna use the 5500. They're gonna have to do it with a loader. You're not gonna clean up the front of that fire station with a dustpan.
You
know
can
what
do
I'm
it
saying?
with a
Seriously.
V-plow on a pickup truck.
It would be, you're either gonna, all of this could be done with a pickup.
Yeah, we don't have one right now.
No, but I know who does.
Who does?
The gentleman you're interviewing.
He has a truck?
He's got a V-plow sitting in his driveway, big
Clint Roden's
fancy
got
aluminum one.
Clint Roden's got plow trucks.
You know, that's all you need is somebody who.
The town's got the loader, you could,
Yep, in fact, if the person knows how to operate a loader, you just drive right in and. Now, obviously, it's an evening rate, so probably you're gonna have to pay a guy to do that, but that's okay.
Evenings and weekends, right?
Correct.
Correct.
then once
I
you.
have had that discussion with a potential part-timer.
Okay.
Once you find out that number, what the evenings and weekend rate would be, then you can justify whether or not it's cheaper to call in your public works guy or not.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Can't believe it.
But yeah, they're not gonna dustpan this stuff.
I can't believe it hasn't snowed yet. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I
it
just
is.
sold my tractor, so you can stop talking about it snowing for a while. I haven't found another one yet.
Just like the old days, you'll be shoveling. Okay, that, I think, yeah, that's some moving parts.
Yeah.
So, back to this,
This is your Public Works Director, job description. And I just included it so that you can see what that person is being asked to do.
so,
But we're
What person?
eliminating that.
I'd say, do
person.
you wanna eliminate this position?
Yes,
Oh,
Okay,
we already have.
okay, yeah,
Yep.
okay.
but I think that's
What do
the
you
way to
mean?
go, to eliminate.
Okay. That's,
This isn't what our guy we have now is doing.
Correct, no.
So you want a motion? Or do you need a motion for you to eliminate a position?
No?
I don't think so.
Okay.
okay.
Is there any more discussion on this budget portion that you wanna share with us, or?
Is there something that you see?
No, I guess I'm kind of, surprised or impressed that they are so, the road committee's so ready to boost that paving budget. That's kind
Well-
of interesting.
They wanna do the one, they're thinking 1¼ inch on the Silvers Mills.
Oh, the skim coat.
Yes, and, then they also wanted to do McFeeters paved, prepped and paved, and I really don't think that they understand how much it's gonna cost.
Right, probably none of us would.
So
Sitting
they,
here do
they
the
come
numbers.
up with 225,000.
We don't really need the 1200 for office supplies up there anymore, do we?
Someone, did I cut it, or did I cut it to 1,200?
You cut it
It's
too.
12, yeah.
I'd eliminate it.
Oh, there was a couple of things I did eliminate.
I would take
Yeah,
that.
internet should be gone from up there. Is that up there anymore?
Internet is at 0.
Yeah, we've got that.
Yeah, okay.
Office supplies, I cut less than half.
I'd take it to 0.
Yeah, it's gonna be your supplies.
Well, but I'm not sure that they're technically office supplies. I'm gonna reread through
Okay.
there, but some of those supplies I think it's labeled office supplies, but I don't really think it's office supplies. But I will
But it
But it
review
certainly
that
doesn't need to be
again.
doubled.
It could
No.
fall under miscellaneous. Wasn't there a miscellaneous?
Yes, there is. I could make that more. by a little.
Well, you got plenty of time to figure that, what
Right,
that
this
is,
was just a
actually.
quick run
Sure.
through.
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
Uniforms, you'll see I cut to 360. My thought on that was, if we still have a full-time person for the summer, to get them the reflective yellow t-shirts, so that they, because if OSHA sees you or the Bureau of Labor without the reflective vests, then we get fined.
Oh,
And so for 7 shirts, 5 short sleeve, 2 long, and my thought was maybe putting some money towards some steel-toed boots, because right now I believe he wears sneakers.
That's its own issue.
So,
Fact.
well, I don't know that it's even required.
It's required in the job.
Is that where it says, do we have it
It's-
in writing somewhere? That's another thing. And I know a lot of towns give a stipend for
We do
boots. I
like
mean,
50
boats are
a
like
year, I think is what we do.
50.
a
50
stipend
a
of
year.
50?
Yeah.
That's not much, because boots are like a couple $100.
well, I mean, I'm wearing a steel-toed boot right now.
Are you really?
Yeah, it cost me $90.
Really?
Yeah, got them on Amazon.
Nice.
You get to try them on, if they don't fit, you send them back for free, so there.
That's right.
So,
And nobody bought them for
anyway,
me either.
I cut that down, we can cut it more. I mean, if that was just the preliminary. We still have drug testing. Now, my question on that is, are we required to be in the drug testing pool?
That's a question to find out.
Yeah, that's a management question.
The only other piece to that,
expensive.
because you're only testing once a year, right?
No, they test, we're in a random pool. Whenever they draw our name, they
Okay.
get tested.
But it's only
How
one
often?
employee.
Well, now we're down to 1 employee, yes, but I think look, it's $336.
What's our,
$175 to, be a member or whatever it is.
how often have we ever been tested?
Well, I know they've been tested a couple of times already this year. Which is, to me, it seems odd because we only have 2. I mean, how odd is it?
So we've had 2 tests, or we've had both employees tested twice? Or 4 tests?
I don't think they've both been tested twice. I think there's been each tested once, but not at the same time.
So our employees sign when they're hired, they sign it, so.
Yeah, I
must
saw
sign
that, I
They
saw
must
that,
sign
random, yeah,
So
no, it's in
what
here,
would
I
it,
saw that.
what would it cost to have them go up to one of the medical centers and get tested?
Well, the whole point of this is that it's a
It's
surprise.
random.
You don't know.
Right, but you could do
We
random.
could do it in-house. I mean, say it cost us $50 to get tested, we wanted our employees tested 3 times a year, it'd be up to her to randomly say,
Let's
Go for
go.
that.
You're only gonna test your full-time employees? And are you only gonna test
This is
public
what-
works employees? Are
that's
you gonna
my-
test office employees?
correct. I think now we're only testing public works, right?
Correct.
Which is kind of discriminating.
And
Well,
I
it's
don't
because they're
think
operating equipment, is
Yeah.
I guess the rationale.
Yeah,
your firefighters do not have to be part of the random drug pool.
Correct.
Interesting,
Which are operating
huge equipment.
heavier equipment.
It seems like, on the one hand, it seems like a lot of money, but on the other hand, you can't get much lab work done for $300.
no, that's true.
I mean,
But that's why I'm saying a phone call would be very easy to find out.
yeah, we need to do it based on our current policy. The question is our current policy necessary?
Correct.
That's,
And what piece of
MMA
money-
would know whether we are supposed, and MMA might even have, because they handle some of our insurances, they might say, yeah, you need to be doing this, I don't know.
Correct. We might be getting a certain rate of insurance because.
Because
we're-
we randomly drug test.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I cut down on gas somewhere.
Well, as long as we got one vehicle
Gas and
broken
diesel.
down.
Oh, I cut $1,000 down. I'm sure we can probably cut more than that if we're not plowing.
Oh, yeah,
Yes, a
yeah,
lot.
So,
yeah.
well, yeah,
I mean, just look at the diesel you went through last winter.
right,
You're gonna cut that by more than half.
yeah. So there are a few spots where it can still be tweaked
Yep.
Yeah,
as we're going through the process.
the only thing is what I would strongly, and I'm not trying to make it come out wrong, which it probably will, but I would be very, instead of proposing much firmer numbers, I would have numbers that, where you think you can make your cuts, and then I would allow the budget committee to work with you to make those cuts for the proposal.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because,
then everybody feels like they're involved.
correct, well, I mean, they're gonna, I mean, it isn't really that, but I don't really wanna trim a budget to where we really want it, cause we know the budget committee's gonna wanna trim a budget.
Right.
So I would rather have them be an active part and say, yep, this is where we are, this is where we think we could, you know what I mean?
You have a very engaged budget committee. So I think they're gonna wanna participate in some of these things. But I think the information is important.
The backup, the supporting
Yep.
information of why, you know, I mean, I think that could help.
Of why?
What, just to support the numbers that you.
It's like why we need
are
less
asking
diesel.
for. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Cause I can tell you, like, I'm gonna get down, they would get down through and say, well, we're not really saving money here because we did this, or they're gonna ask a lot of questions. So,
Yes, I know.
Anything more on this from any of you? No?
it's a good
I
start.
think it's a very good start.
And these are the current budget numbers right here, expended numbers.
Okay.
So, we're like down to the last month.
Yes.
Where do you see us finishing the month? That's my question.
We're gonna have surplus.
How bad?
How much?
Yeah.
Well, the first two columns, 404 was approved, we've spent 378.
Correct.
I don't see a whole lot out of these warrants, that was paying Herrick the full amount, that was paying all of Lawson, that was paying all of the contract.
So though all of that stuff is already included?
Deducted in these numbers on the budget,
Okay.
yes.
So this 378 represents full payment of all those items you just,
Wow.
so,
We still have money to spend.
yeah, where's the bucket of money? Is it,
Well, we have, in the road improvement, we've got, what, 13,000,
Yeah,
12,000?
you got a bucket there from,
So, if we want to, that's why it's important to talk about Silver's Mills, what do we wanna do there? Because if we wanna put more gravel, 4 inches on the whole thing, 6 inches, whatever, we can pre-buy that gravel right now, and it doesn't come out of next year's budget. On McFeeters, if we're going to be prepping McFeeters next year, and we need to buy culverts, buy those culverts now.
has your road committee looked at McFeeters through that prism?
They have looked at, I'll let you listen. to
Okay,
them.
so we don't know culvert, recommended
They
culvert.
think, yeah, no, they didn't, they think what's there is fine, but there's one that was removed that they think should be put back. One of the culverts, I went yesterday and looked at it. The top part of the culvert is washed right away, all the way to the pavement. And so, the top of the culvert's exposed, and it's pretty deep. So that's gotta have something done to it.
I would think we can start on it this year, so you can try to do that quickly, but I wouldn't be, you could get a hold of Phil, have him go up through there, give him an idea. Get a hold of a contractor to go up through there. It's not setting anything in stone with a contractor, who or what we're gonna do next year, but,
Right.
if you go up through there, and even on the culverts with this stone, we could pre-buy some of that stone for next year.
Right?
Yeah, I don't see any reason to let that, we know that there's plenty of work that needs to be done. If we can spend this money, that's what it's allocated, that's what it's
Right.
allotted for,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Right.
Well, is there any option still for gravel road work right now?
I don't know.
Once that ground freezes, it gets
It's-
really
Yeah.
sketchy.
Yeah.
Still pretty slimy, look at
I
the
know
truck.
it is, but
Yeah, but what are they gonna do?
But that's what I'm
where you
saying,
got a shadow area, I don't know, like,
I don't know
it's probably
either.
fine today, but,
it's a question
Yeah.
you could ask. If we can't, we can't, but I'm just trying to think, you're not gonna spend $20,000 on culverts and
You could spend 20,000 on gravel pretty easy.
If you're pre-buying it. Yeah. And like I said, I did buy, another load of salt, which the road committee recommended to have one.
Sure.
That's good.
You know, cause we might need it in February, well, I've already paid it out
Yeah.
of this year's budget.
Yeah,
not
That's
next
we
year's.
did that, actually, we
Yeah.
did that last year,
So I did
we
that.
actually did it in January,
Yeah, you can do it as an archive,
and that's what we did last year.
yeah.
Yeah, I think a culvert count makes total sense, so, I mean,
Yeah.
those are just.
Okay,
things
so how
no
does that,
brainers.
if we pre-buy gravel, let's just say,
Yeah,
you're gonna buy X amount of gravel for next year. Where is it gonna be? Does it stay in the pit? Does
Yeah.
it stay at your contractor?
stay in the pit.
So that would be
You
a
get an
con,
IOU for X number of yards.
so you need a contract.
That needs to be bid if it's over 10 grand.
But if it's not over 10 grand,
You know, you can buy $8,000 worth of gravel.
right?
Correct. I mean, if, whatever, you could spend 8,000 on gravel and 5,000 on stone, or a couple on, you know, I don't know how close you dare to, actually, you got right till the last day.
That's right. And I
Yeah,
can go
that's
back in the
right.
archive and spend some more.
Okay, I think
Yeah,
that's
I
all
think that's a
sound.
good plan.
I think that's a wicked
Yeah.
good plan for next year.
Yeah, yeah, that
So
really
even if you
gives
don't have the exact culvert count, I mean, Dexter Lumber, he'll sell you 5 culverts and deliver them next spring, I'm sure.
We can deliver them, I mean, you can buy them right now, and we
Yeah.
Yeah,
got a place to put them,
Yep.
so I'm not afraid of that.
yeah, yeah. There's plenty of space up there.
Okay.
Yep. I think that would be, next meeting, actually, that'd give us your wish list, cause we'll be getting closer to have an idea how much we could have for next year.
My wish list for the,
What
Pre-buy?
Yeah, what we,
Yeah, the
where
pre-buy
we think we're gonna
of the-
be and
of the
what we're
last
gonna be
buy.
able to, cause I can tell you right now, that's never happened.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good position to be in.
We've never been able to, or never have had the thought process to expend this money to be used for next year.
Well, particularly with Public Works.
Right.
This
We've always had
40,000 2
40,
years in a row.
50 grand sitting there.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, then it was
Awesome.
mostly because we couldn't get ahead on ditching and culverts, so we couldn't do, we never could
Playing
get
catch up.
organized.
Well, and I think that this right here is important, if we can take, say, even if it's 15,000, if you can get ahead for next year, then that's just gonna be that, because there's a lot of
Right.
ditching that needs to be done on the feeders.
Oh, that road,
Oh my-
that road is,
Well-
I don't even really know how you fix it.
well, and that was another comment that the budget, the road committee said, they're like, well, there's only about 1,000 feet that need ditching, and I'm like,
Oh, boy.
what road are you riding? You know, and,
Well, there's, a lot of it is so close to the homes, there's no
Yeah.
There is
anything.
no place yet.
Yeah,
but you
But-
should be able to like shim some of that off there and make a little bit of something before the road.
that'd be a good one for Phil to walk with
Yeah,
you if he would.
yeah.
But you know, the other thing is, it's not too early to start thinking about the next road to be worked, cause we wanna do culverts and ditching somewhere else.
Stay ahead.
For,
East Sangerville, I know, needs one culvert.
I can guarantee you, we're gonna, before we get too many more years ahead, we're gonna have to come back to Silver's Mills, because those ones that were done again 2 years ago are gonna have to be done again.
Oh, gosh.
It'll be the 3rd time since I've lived there, 10 years.
where
If you
about,
go from like my house back towards 23,
yeah,
that long
all that
straighter head.
kinda newly paved.
Well, it's 10, half the year I've lived there, that's when that was.
Oh,
paved.
okay.
So that's 10 years old, and
That's 10 years old.
yeah, that was all paved,
Wow.
that was all ditched and new culverts put in when they did that, when we bought the house, and I think it was, was like this, so I think it was 2 years ago. Now, all of those culverts were all dug out and all replaced.
Reset.
No,
Oh,
replaced,
replace?
cause they were all
Gosh.
flattened out.
Pancaked.
And they're all starting to, so I haven't got down there and looked, but I was pretty sure I know what's happening.
There's the one there too by the riding ring that's coming out of the ground. That one needs to
That
be
needs to be
taken
done.
care of.
Never ends.
I know.
I have a public works to-do list started, on a spreadsheet in my office, so every time Rick says something or the board says something or, somebody's like, oh, don't forget you to do, I put it on that list so that we have stuff to pick from.
Something to reference.
Right,
We
right.
still have some limbs and debris that
Oh,
needs to be
yeah, well,
cleaned
that's on
up
my,
on the roads.
selectmen's concerns.
Well, I mean, right there, the intersection on the townhouse road, there was a tree that come down. And there's a lot of that tree that's still laying right in the plow lane, so there's a lot of debris still that's laying on the edges that
Didn't get cleaned
it's
up.
gonna have to get cleaned up before we can plow. We ain't even gonna have wing room. So, but I know that house right there on that intersection's got one.
Doesn't Chris drive by it every day?
Chris
Isn't that where he
does,
lives?
Yeah, he lives down there. And I think past Chris's house is still the one hanging. You drive under it when you get down through. And I think there's one in the ditch right there, and I think there's another one. East Sangerville Road, I see some out that way too. My wife has to work Saturday, so when she has to work, that's my routine, is every road.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good.
You want mileage?
No, thank you.
Okay.
You can wash my truck though.
I might do that. Okay. Anything more on this? Guess we're on to tax acquired property.
Did you have something else planned?
No, I just, 6 o'clock.
All right, so we've just gone through foreclosure process.
The what?
The foreclosure process for non-payment of
Okay.
personal
Oh,
real
oh,
estate
sure.
property taxes. And I have 4 people that have not paid.
So we have 4 properties that we need to,
The 3-year time limit has hit 'em.
Yes, these are the 2015 taxes. However, you can't just put it out for bid because, like, one of them is they're deceased, so you have to contact
The estate.
the estate, which means every child. That would be
You know all
Rillinger.
about that.
yeah, don't talk to me about that.
And so I have to, this Michael Warford, and we have to make every reasonable effort to find these people before you can
Okay,
sell
so-
them.
We're at that where we have to foreclose, is that what you're saying?
We've gone by the foreclosure date, which is November 28th.
Okay, so these all should be tax acquired properties at this time?
Correct.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure I'm on the
Yes.
same page with you.
Yes.
Because I've, honestly, this is the first time I've ever had this conversation, so I really don't know.
Oh, okay.
You're educating.
So, we have these 4.
Okay.
This is your town's policy on tax acquired. And I had called Mike and I said, the Philbrook one, Mark Philbrook, it's Mill Street. The son, he's deceased and the mother remarried and she lives in Bangor and he wants to move into the property and he moved all of his stuff. Well, she didn't tell him that the taxes were due until like the week before they were due. And he's like, well, I can't pay that amount at this time. He said, can I do a payment plan and pay a little, $100 a week or whatever. And he and I talked about it and I really didn't give him an answer at the time, but I talked to the ladies in the office and what it boiled down to is I cannot make a payment plan with him because it's not his property.
Ha 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 ha.
Major, right off the top, it's not his.
Right.
That was the easy way out, but yes.
And well, and then I tried to call him back and either he gave me the wrong number or I wrote
so
it
you
down
can't
wrong.
contact him?
So I can't contact him, but he hasn't called back. You'd have thought that he'd have called back.
Sure.
Okay, so that one there is not, that's in the other person's name, they know it's tax acquired.
Well, he knows it was going to be foreclosed the next day.
Okay, but it's not his.
Correct.
So
It was
he
his
has
mother's.
nothing to do with any of this conversation.
Correct.
Legally.
That
And his
is
mother's
correct.
still alive, but doesn't
She
live
lives
there
in
anymore.
Bangor.
Okay.
And
Okay.
she knows.
remarried.
And she
Okay.
knows.
Yeah, because she told him, like, the
But I
taxes are
mean, we
due.
have told him, or she knows exactly where everything's at, so that we're in,
Yeah, they get the letters.
okay.
But, so this is your policy, and we found in the past, you have sent out this letter. It says, do not disregard this letter, please contact me immediately. And it says, we foreclosed. However, we're going to give you thus and such 30 days, or however long, to pay in full. And that means not just the 1 year, but all the years.
the way up to date,
To date.
to current.
To current. So this has been used in the past by the town. This was in the policy book. You can see, I don't know who Joseph Clark is, 2006, I think was that, 2008.
I never even heard that.
Me
name.
neither.
He must have, we had one that was only like a 2-weeker.
That's probably him.
So,
You
I
beat somebody.
mean, so, and then the other thing is, does the town really want to take these properties back? And if there are people living in them, I mean,
I own
it could be an issue, I mean,
Nope, it
Ain't
isn't.
no issue.
no, I know.
My opinion is we should do exactly what the law tells us we're supposed to do and what we need to do.
And
Wow.
treat everybody the same.
And treat
That's
everybody
right.
the same, no favoritism, no nothing.
No payment plans for this guy and
No,
not
no.
one
No.
for that guy.
So this is my conversation with MMA. Originally.
Do we have this?
Yes. Let me see. I asked, we've reached our foreclosure, I've attached our policy and a letter. That was the 2 items I just pointed out. Can we send the letter as a letter of cure, for example, give them 30 days to pay the taxes and still redeem the property? Is it, quote, legal or an acceptable practice? Basically, it says, it's not a right to cure or redeem, but we can allow them to repurchase for the property, and that's how we should word it. But it's all dependent on, your town warrant article, how that is written, and I think I've given you a copy, yes. Number 10, Article 10 says, to see if the town will authorize the selectmen on behalf of the town to sell and dispose of real estate and personal property acquired by the town for non-payment of taxes. The revenue received shall be used to pay the back taxes, and any additional revenue put to the general fund. So, they do give you permission to dispose of tax acquired properties.
This was an article and it passed.
I believe it did pass. I could not find
Okay.
the minutes on it, but this is from the last town meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
This, what, you could see it says 2018.
So we never had that provision until last year?
No, I think
No,
we've
it's
always
always
been
been
there.
Oh, they just do it every
Every
year?
year.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
oh,
Every
okay.
year. Yeah,
It's one of
every year.
those,
Perpetual.
Reaffirm.
You have to do it every
Okay,
year.
all right.
And so then the last thing that you have is Bradford's, I wrote this in Bradford when I was there, their, tax acquired property, policy. And the final, message from Rich Llewellyn is, I believe, in regards to this one.
To the Bradford one?
Yes, because I said, you know, he gave me the answer and then I responded, it is helpful. And I said I would like to propose the attached policy to replace the existing. It is one I wrote and had passed in Bradford. Would this cover any questionable parameters needed, provided town meeting vote allows the board discretion? Because he talks about some questionable parameters in the current policy. And then he just says that one article that he would suggest making a change on. So that, we can table the policy, you can look at the policy you currently have, you can look at this policy, you can do nothing. And it doesn't matter what you do as far as policy, I still have to research these people to contact them, to make sure they've been notified that they have to pay their taxes. And I
which one
still
of
have
these,
to-
which is one of these follows the letter of the law? Because I don't know the law.
If you read what he's written, it doesn't matter. It's a
What
policy.
Llewellyn wrote?
Yeah,
So this is the law for Sangerville right now.
currently that is what you have
Is
to
this
follow.
adequate? Do you see something here so you think we need to change, is my question.
Well, he talks about paragraph D.
Oh, boy.
It says that the policy appears to reserve to the selectmen the right to waive requirements. It doesn't say, I don't know that repurchase is actually in our current policy. The right to repurchase.
But it doesn't say they can't, does it?
Well, it doesn't say they can, but how are you going to allow them to repurchase if you don't have it written there that you're going to allow them to repurchase?
Well,
But it
You know
doesn't
what
say
I
you
mean?
can't.
I say,
It just
It
says
doesn't.
it's for sale for bid.
so if the highest bidder
For-
is the property owner,
They would own it.
why wouldn't we want them to have it back?
Right, but why waste your time and money putting it out to bid if you can contact the person and say, do you want to repurchase in the next 30 days? Otherwise, we're going to put it out to bid.
You mean you wanna pay your taxes in the next 3 days?
Right.
Correct.
Right, but that, we're changing the subject. the repurchase clause. Once we've gone to the phase that this thing is going up to bid, it seems like MMA had a question as to whether we should allow the current owner to repurchase. Am I understanding that? And I don't know why we would care.
I think so. I'm not understanding your question, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, did you find it in there?
No,
I mean, in the MMAs?
no, our policy doesn't
Oh.
forbid.
It doesn't forbid it, but it doesn't say you can allow it either.
Well, I guess I'm confused that why would you have to specifically acknowledge that a bid's a bid? I mean, it does say you don't have to take the lowest one. So I guess the board could say, this person has a history of not paying their taxes, and they're only $100 more than someone else, you'd have every right to take the lower bid, maybe that would be a rationale that would fly. But at the same time, if the current property owner had the highest bid by say $10,000, why wouldn't we accept it? They're gonna pay their back taxes, they own it again, and if they don't pay taxes for 3 years, they'll probably be buying their own property back again. But,
I mean, this whole 30-day thing to pay in full. One side of me says, well, 30 days, I mean, if 30 days, I guess, isn't really gonna hurt anything, but the other side of it is, if you haven't been able to pay per year, so you're at the point, you're probably not gonna come up.
well, all you had to do was pay the last year's taxes before we got to 3 years, and the clock kept ticking.
Correct.
So, you're right, the
I mean,
odds
is
of
this
them coming up with 3
Is this a
years.
policy or something that you have to use this? I mean, you just
This
found this
letter?
as an
I
act.
found this has been used in the past.
Right,
I
but it's
don't know if
nothing
it was
that you
used
really-
in conjunction with what you have as a policy. I just know that it had been.
But I mean, our
used.
policy doesn't state that you have to.
Not that I can determine from
It
the.
seems like this may be much like the bidding process and the hiring process. The local municipality is given a lot of leeway on how you're gonna do this. You have a tremendous amount of authority, and
Right.
there are some rules you need to follow.
Right.
But if you make it messy, it's probably mostly our fault.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
That's I'm honestly, when I say that, I'm not trying to sound like a jerk about this, cause this is a very serious thing for anybody.
Yes.
But I don't wanna see the town get into more legal issues or more congestion, because we're trying to control this.
Right.
Right.
I would
Yep,
rather have
yep.
my hands,
We did our part, they
Yeah.
got their
That's
3
right.
years.
Correct.
The interest that we charged them was legal, and now it's time to square up. You had 3 years to work this out.
and that's my other thought about not having this 30-day, because honestly, I'm looking at it as if you've gotten to this stage, 30 more days is probably not gonna help you.
Right,
I agree.
right, no.
And I'm looking out for the best interest of the town that, I don't wanna give you 30 days.
Right.
I wanna get it out for bid as soon as it's ours, because I want somebody else to own that property to pay that tax.
That's our job.
But if they have not signed the 30-day foreclosure letter, I have to research why.
Sure, no, there's
So it
rules.
still could take forever. Now, this Michael Warford, he lives in Methuen, Massachusetts. I found his deed in Methuen he purchased a place for $450,000. Still lives there, as far as we can tell, because it hasn't been sold.
Sure.
But Methuen Town Office doesn't have him on their tax rolls. So how can he purchase that house and not live there?
What?
Exactly, so we try to find these people. I've called post
Right, but he's on a
offices
deed down
before.
there, they must have an address for a tax bill,
You would think.
they must.
But you can't get it.
They
Should be
can give it to me, it's public information.
Yes, they
Alright.
have to give it to you.
But I will call them again.
Yeah.
But that's
because I
just
didn't
detective
actually make
work.
that. It is.
Yeah.
Regardless of
But-
anything we do here, you're gonna get stuck doing that.
Yes.
Exactly. And these 4 people, I have to make sure first and foremost that if they signed their thing, yep, we can put it up to bid. But if they didn't sign their foreclosure letter, because we send them certified, then I have to research.
Sure, but I'm sure there's a limit to that too. You don't
There
have to
is.
research for a
That's
decade.
correct.
Right.
You have to
That's
make, there's
correct.
probably a
You
threshold.
have to do reasonable effort
Yep.
to,
So everything you're telling me is telling me more reasons why I don't want that 30 days on there.
Yeah, I don't want
Because
to
this is
deviate.
just prolonging
It's
even further out there
Yeah.
Right.
and affecting everybody within the town.
And I would not be cutting one-offs. My own gut is, if I were in your position, because the second you, all right, I'll make a payment plan for you.
Oh, no, no.
These people know each other.
Yeah.
Someone else is
Oh.
gonna come in and want a payment
They're
plan.
all up to Robinson's having a coffee. They're all, yeah, geez,
Well, why did you do it
town
for her?
manager's really nice, she's letting me pay $25 a week so I can get mine caught up.
Yeah.
One of the things that workshop
will-
was really, the entanglements you can create by trying to do the nice thing, it's amazing.
Is.
You can
yeah.
foreclose on these property while people are still in them.
Yeah.
You can auction them
Oh,
while
yes.
they're in them.
Yes.
And if you try to do it another way, all of a sudden you become a landlord.
Yeah.
It was amazing
Yeah.
to me, the latitude that's given the municipality if you just follow the rules.
That's
That's
right.
why- that's all-
right.
You
I don't
still
want
have
any
to be
entanglement.
very careful though, because if, like, I know Garland did this, they sold a piece at auction for bid, but the guy tried to pay his taxes, and the lady that was in the town office wouldn't take his money.
Well, that's a whole.
That's another.
And he even
People-
went to a selectmen's meeting after the foreclosure date to pay his taxes, and they wouldn't let him pay his taxes
Oh.
even after the foreclosure date. And he took him to court and he won.
Oh, yeah, well,
Yeah, well, I'm sure
So you
towns
still have
all
to-
over the country, there are guys
Yeah.
and gals scheming to get properties up for auction so they can buy them. That's
Yeah.
illegal,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah, no, as far as I'm concerned, as long as this does what it's supposed to do, and it's
Leave it.
legal, and there's nothing in here that's putting us more into an issue, then I'm fine with it.
right,
Okay.
right.
The thing that you always have to remind yourself is these people had 3 years.
That's
And even if they
exactly.
just pay up on the latest year, it keeps going.
But
Yeah.
I'll tell you, last year, honestly, last year was I had a phone call from, she was an elder, but she was an older, actually a lady I've known my whole life, and with a lot of respect for her, and I personally know the situation, and I had to have those conversations. She called me and was very upset and crying, and there wasn't a conversation or anything that I ever wanted to deal with, come to this side of it. It's definitely not always easy.
Nope.
Yeah, I send them out of my office crying quite frequently.
Oh,
So, she had about had me crying before I was done.
I've just followed the rules, so.
yeah, that's it.
That's all I think,
That's-
that's the best
And,
approach.
yep,
We can jump back up because we skipped selectmen's concerns. My only concern personally, well, not my only, but one is that cemetery full of tree trunks.
Printers now.
Yep.
Where are we at on that? I know there was conversation once
Yeah.
about Lane.
I haven't gone,
So that, I would like to see that addressed before that's buried.
I've got to talk to.
Now, I don't know that the sexton's gonna be able to do their part of it, but we should be able to get the trees out of there.
I drove by there, I don't see why, if we could get the town dump truck over there and a chainsaw. And I don't know if there's a way to get our loader, or if there's another loader in the area.
Well, again, the person you're talking to has equipment that the two of them could probably work together and
Right.
charge us a little something, and you could work that out,
I
but
would use-
I'd like to get it cleaned up.
Town equipment.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure when we use anything like that, then they gotta show proof of.
Yes, that
Probably.
is correct.
It'd be,
Chris does it though. He's used his equipment for town work before, I don't know how he does
you
it.
just sign it, you can donate.
Right.
I've done it at my place, I've signed off.
It's, under normal circumstances, you'd push it off the road, but you can't do that because it's our property and you can't give it to anyone else.
Oh.
It's laying on a cemetery, so you can't push it across the road on somebody else's property. So,
Unless somebody else said you could.
yeah, but.
My only concern
It's a
honestly
mess.
is, there's no way
Is
to
it?
get, you can't get equipment in there. There's
Right.
no way to get in there to do what you gotta do, because you're gonna be running over graves.
Yeah.
So you need to really go in there and buck it all up into what you can handle, and the road is right there, so it's not like you gotta lug it out of there.
No, it's a small tractor and a logging chain and a chainsaw, you could
Get it
get it all
cleaned
cleaned
up.
up gently.
Right,
I
right.
could clean it up, but,
Right.
it's quite a lot there.
is a lot.
Half of a pasture pine fell in that cemetery, it's still sitting there.
wow, wow,
It is still there.
oh,
Okay, anybody else have a concern?
That's, I mean, I knew about that when I see that last ride around, but the other thing is, we have a lot of limbs still beside the road that's gonna,
So maybe
Be in the way
your
for
public
plowing.
works should
be
do the
out
Luke
there
Townsend
cleaning,
Road and,
cleaning up,
Okay.
yeah,
I mean,
Before the
we've been
snow.
lucky.
before the snow, we have been.
But on the other side of it is, I would not wanna be plowing roads with a wing down.
and hidden trees.
I'd be a little upset if I was.
Committee reports. Rec committee.
Yep. Brian Smith, the guy that's doing the gazebo, he was in today, and he's working on the benches. And the problem is the decking that they were going to use for the seat and the back. It's not finished on both sides, and so it's only finished on one side. And he wants to know, do we want to just put it up and let it be ugly? Do we want to paint it? Do we want to use white vinyl? And the problem is, if we return the decking, there's a 25% restock fee. And then if we buy the vinyl, it might wash out to be the same price as the decking. I mean, so basically, or paint it, just get a quart of paint.
Where are they at in their budget? Do they have the money for anything additional?
I haven't printed that off, but
Because the last time we talked, things were
Well, this is
kind
why
of
we
teetering.
weren't talking about
Yeah,
a sign
it
until
was-
this was
Yeah.
done deal.
right,
I got the
Right,
look
the
when I
sign.
said that, but I'm awfully glad now that I said that.
right.
It's amazing you have to, but
Yeah.
anyway, that's kind of
I
the
didn't-
answer to their
yeah.
questions. If you got the money,
Oh, yeah.
Have you talked
Get
to
it?
Jason at all?
I have
assume?
not, because when I talked to Brian, I asked him that question. I said, did you talk to Jason? And he said, no, Jason's out of town. He said he didn't want to disturb him if he's on vacation.
Okay. I'll try.
Well, I could have texted him, but again, I don't know if he's on
Oh,
did
vacation.
they
was
get
it
their
Rhonda?
$1,000?
Well, and that was the thing, yeah, they did.
They did?
Yeah,
That's
Rhonda
good.
Taylor gave it. So, and I meant to contact Rhonda actually, and I just ran out of time
Yeah,
today.
I would do that. I mean, we'll get a hold of her and, cause I'm sure she's very well up on exactly how many pennies are left. in
Yeah,
that
she
budget.
seemed to be
Yeah.
the bean counter in that group.
Yeah,
So,
so,
see what she says or what she recommends and.
yeah,
As long as they get the money, it's their
That's right,
project.
that's right.
yeah. So, alright. I think we've already talked about everything,
The road commissioner,
yeah,
we've covered that?
I think so. I
We
just
talked about
said
it
gravel
about
for
roads.
Silver's Mills, what I didn't tell Ollie, if you remove the gravel on the Silver's Mills, on that section by the sawmill, there's ledge under there. And when I talked to Lawson about it, he said you have to be careful, because if you take the gravel out, he said you've gotta make sure that your ledge underneath is crowned so that the water will run out and you don't have pockets or you'll have frosties.
That whole thing's gonna get torn apart.
So,
Think positive. Holy
I'm
cow.
positive it is.
Glass is so empty.
I mean,
Oh, we're in the bottom of that bucket.
so, I mean, do you wanna remove the
Oh my
pavement or leave it there to act as a barrier between the gravel and the ledge? Do you wanna?
Your
So, I mean, it's just like, it's.
your
one thing.
investigation with Pike is gonna determine that whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And so,
Okay.
Okay.
feeders and
Skipping down to old business then, which brings up an item near and dear to your heart, the manure spreader.
okay, yes. So, I posted on Craigslist, there's my proof. My first bid was from Tim for $5. And then I got a bid for $25.
Whoa,
That's real money.
From, yeah.
oh,
Oh, it was from you. I thought you were gonna have to reach. So you need us to accept that?
Yeah.
oh, yeah. I'll make a motion to accept the bid for 25.
I think we should go with the highest bidder in this case.
Yeah,
Yes, I second that motion.
even though you can't.
Well.
He has to,
well,
because he has
That's
to.
abstain.
And you can't even vote.
I can't
Well,
vote.
It's unanimous. Fortunately, we didn't split on this,
2,500? Fantastic.
but we're not liable for moving it or anything, are we?
No.
Okay.
I put delivered.
You didn't?
Uh,
You didn't.
The health insurance, I assume we addressed?
I have to address it.
Okay.
It's a new.
I thought it was what we signed and all that.
No. So health insurance, I actually have a couple of the ladies that would like to keep POSC.
Have they done the math? Have you done it for them?
Yes, they have.
Okay.
They're still doing the research, so, that being said, I would have to have a new motion But of course, we don't have another board meeting until the 15th, until
Oh, boy,
after
you
the
gotta do-
15th. So your motion should be like,
So we could drop the
Drop-
top one and go to the next one.
well, but we don't know if they want I think the PPO 1000 would be the better one to drop. Keep the POSC and the POS 200.
What's your enrollment so far?
3 for the PPO 2500.
Okay, and yet you have 2 that might wanna do something that we didn't include.
Hang on,
Correct.
wait a minute. You have 3 for the 2,500. Oh, okay, sorry.
Has
I was trying
anyone
to count
really
my
done the
head.
math?
Yeah,
Because
Yes,
it's not
I
any
did it
savings.
right out. I did it right out on the sheet.
Okay,
I printed out the sheet, the information sheet, and I put it
You
on there.
told them what they would
They-
owe.
here's what
Yes.
you're gonna pay, here's what you save, okay.
But I mean, and I said, you guys don't really care what plan they pick.
No, except that what we offered, as far
Right.
as the 3 plans,
I
so that would
wanted a
have to be
high, middle,
changed.
and a low.
Right.
And I explained that the POS 200 was keeping in with what they were already paying
Right,
range.
Right.
And so
I can't, fortunately, we don't have people in 3 slots already, or that would kind of preclude it, but
right.
I don't, if you wanna suggest an adjustment like that, I can't imagine that we'd have any objection.
Right.
And if you need us to make that motion,
I need a motion because it has to go as an intent. I have to
you
send it to
gotta have it done
and then
before our
I-
next meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you wanna keep the top 2? Is that what you, really?
Yeah.
So you
so-
want the
Only because you wanna
P
make sure that in case they change their mind, is that?
POSC and the POS 200.
and the POS 200,
And the PPO 2500 because that's what people are already enrolled in.
Sure.
PPO 2,500.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion that we are going to offer the POSC, the POS 200, and the PPO 2,500 as our 3 insurance plans.
Second.
All those in favor? Unanimous? Gray Road.
Okay. You should have a bunch on this.
Oh, trust me, I have a stack on this.
You have a new stack.
Oh,
All right, so the first one is an email. You'll see I copied and pasted it. These are my questions that I sent to Becky Seal.
oh,
Because I had originally sent her an email asking
Okay.
for assistance through the 7-step process. And she said, well, if you know there's a 7-step process, so then what
do you
specific
need?
questions do you need help with?
Start with step 1.
yeah, right.
So let's start with step 1. So in step 1, and I've included the whole thing here. This
Okay.
is from the
Yep.
roads manual.
Yep.
So step 1 is, we have to determine damages. But my question to her is, in the second paragraph, it says, for a list of appraisal companies, contact Maine DOT. Well, I'm wondering, is that a requirement or a suggestion?
Correct.
Can we contact our own appraiser, or do we have to choose somebody through the state? So that was in step 1, and then I'm assuming as I read through step 2 and 3, it appears that we can do steps 2, at least step 2, before we do.
We can
before
work on
we
these
have
simultaneously,
damages.
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right. And then I think to do step 3 though, you have to have some dollar figures in place. They don't have to be firm until you get to the final vote. So you'll see on D1 is a notice of proposed discontinuance. This is step 2. And I would suggest getting this done sooner rather than later. Because it's a public hearing. You have to schedule a public hearing.
Okay.
I think through this process, we have at least 2 public hearings, one just before final vote. But this one is the preliminary one, so I suggest you look at the
Yeah,
calendar.
we're
pick a
gonna
day and
look to
time.
you and say, because we need to have some information before we schedule this hearing.
What information? Well, that's,
Well, do we wanna have some, understanding of the cost, compensation to abutters?
on the damages, you mean?
Yes.
Well, that's exactly, so I mean,
So, what's the harm in checking the DOT approved list?
right.
Calling some of these people, say, what do we, because there aren't very many abutters.
Correct.
So this is a little bit cleaner than some that would have 50 abutters.
Yes.
So let's see what that might run us.
Right.
Get the ball rolling there.
And it's all, if I'm correct, it's all woodland, right? I mean, there's no houses up through here.
I don't think well,
There is a cottage down at the bottom.
so I've printed the two maps
Right,
that are the gray road.
okay. You have one too, but let's, so that I can, you
So I
can.
think
One
it's
of them's-
gonna be,
Map 11 and one's map 8.
which one is this one?
The one that has Mar Pond is
Mm-hmm.
map 8.
Okay, so we're
Okay.
coming in, yep.
8, okay. It's map 8.
Okay, and you
And-
can see where the Flanders Hills Road is, it's gonna meet up. You can't see it, but that's where it would be on the page.
No, right here. The Flanders Hill Road meets just at 38-2. That intersection
Right
is
here.
Flanders Hill.
So that's the
Oh,
sharp
there's
corner?
Flanders
That's
Hill.
the sharp corner.
Right there.
Okay, so it's showing as a T.
Yes.
Okay, that's the corner. So basically, we're talking about from what, I'm guessing,
39 is that, I can't read
Yeah.
that number.
Oh, I see.
Is that 38-1
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
and 38-2?
So
Those
it's
are the
that
three
little
lots.
footage.
It's that little footage. Just about a centimeter to the left of where it says road, that's approximately where that's gonna,
Where the mile ends.
yes.
So it's basically right above 39, almost
Yeah.
above the 9.
Yep. Yep,
So-
just to the
So right
right.
about there.
So you know, we're not, I mean,
Yeah, we're talking like 1,500 feet.
but I
Really?
mean, when you look at the size of these three parcels, the amount of damages on these has got to be so minimal.
Well, and so that's my question, like on the 39, are we only damaging the part that's discontinued?
Yes.
Not the whole
Yes,
parcel?
yes.
Yes.
So the same on 38-2, it's only, I mean, is it even gonna have damages, cause their
I don't believe it
driveway is
will.
after that?
Are you sure that our 1 mile falls on 39 and not?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I
the
read
other
that.
side of the road,
Here
Yeah.
up to there.
the north side of the road,
Yeah,
okay,
That's Mr. Bird.
that's Mr. Burgess. I
Over on
believe
this
all
side.
of it is.
My only question is, when you're on 38.2,
yep.
okay,
Man, I need stronger glasses.
take them off, it works better.
No, that's not working.
When you're at 38.2,
Yes,
right beside 38.1,
yes.
you see a nice dotted line road.
That's a right of way of some sort.
That is exactly what that is a right of way.
Yes,
So does that mean you also inherit the damages that's to these back lots that have a deeded
That is
access
a good
down
question.
those right of ways?
Dale, wow. Dale is on.
And what's that little tiny little carve out lot?
I can't imagine that it's gonna affect it because it's a right of way anyway.
Yeah, I think
Correct.
you're right. It's a private way.
Right.
But it is a deeded right of way of access off from a private road.
Hey,
off
you
a
may
public
pick up 2 more damages. It is what it
That's
is.
what the
Well,
appraiser is gonna
Yep.
do. figure
Well, my
out.
question is, does it, I'm trying to look at this tax map.
Yeah, but this is
These aren't
saying.
numbers.
Right, this is saying this is contiguous with this, so.
It's all still
We're not
part of it.
damaging. you
This
know,
isn't a separate lot,
You
it's not
also-
the
no.
owner.
You
Right.
also, they could be
So it
the
shouldn't be
same
any
owner.
damages.
No,
They could be the same owner.
She's
It
saying
is,
that's
it
what that
is.
symbol
That's what that hook is.
Oh, okay.
contiguous,
Listen,
contiguous,
Michael.
contiguous.
Yeah, that's
She
a-
just
that's a
took my
hook.
check mark right away from me. Because if it's the same owner, there's,
No, cause then they can come in this way, they
Right.
can access that.
but if
property.
you own this lot and I
Yeah, yeah,
own
yeah.
this lot,
Oh,
then we could
oh,
have a
yes.
conversation.
Oh, yes,
But it's all gonna come down to the appraiser.
that's right.
And then on the other side of the road is Lance Burgess, all of it, the whole distance.
Yep.
So I've
So
printed
I
out,
mean,
So
he
his
may-
damages would be from here to
To-
here
Yeah.
yeah,
as well.
Yep.
so I've
But I think
printed
that
out
would be, that would
there.
also be part of a question though, is like you said on the other one, it's the same scenario,
Right, partial damages.
correct, in 39, 39 actually, I think the driveway to that lot
Oh, no.
is
Oh,
here.
okay.
So
Good.
if the driveway to 39 is above the discontinuation,
Oh, it is.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
old Cleves house.
Correct.
Oh.
Yep.
So that driveway is above, so 39 may not be able to, there's no damages there.
Well, there's.
Oh,
we'll see.
39?
We'll,
Yeah.
No,
I
because
know,
he could
but-
argue that, hey, I wanted
I
to
wanted
put
to-
another house
yeah,
in.
He may have
yeah.
wanted to subdivide, true.
Yeah.
Either way, it's still,
I'll be
it's
interested
minor.
to see what the numbers, I bet it's smaller than you think.
I bet it's gonna cost us more money and time and effort and paperwork to do this than what the damages are gonna be.
That's what I'm,
Yeah.
but I've never done
Okay,
one. It'll be interesting. But I do agree, we need to get this being.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so do you agree that these are the lots that would be affected?
Yes.
It looks that
Basically,
way to
that's the
me.
first thing that we have
But
to do
your
is
assessor's gonna know that too. That's part of what he or she does.
the assessor, but we're talking about an appraiser.
appraiser.
The appraiser, I'm using the
Right.
wrong word.
Well, no, but it says in step one, the selectmen determine.
Oh, well, that's our opinion.
Yeah, that's our opinion.
The municipal officers determine whose property abuts the road in question.
Okay,
Okay.
Well, there's two people you could call very fast to find out.
yeah,
For what?
Please and Burgess.
Right, because one side of the roads is Burgess and the other side 39, I believe, is Cleves.
Well, I already printed off of them.
Okay. Is it close?
One of them is, Cleves Farms. Charles Carroll. And Lance Burgess.
That's all of them.
That's all of them.
Charles Carroll owns that 38, 1 and 2?
Yep.
Huh? Didn't know that.
So he owns quite a lot of frontage on Mar Pond.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's this one?
If you look at that through Google Earth,
Is it?
Yeah.
pretty good
yeah.
clearing, pretty good road down to the pond. There's a camp down in there.
Back in. When the hell was that? Back in 91, all of this land was for sale. Actually, it was 38-3 was part of that. That goes all the way to
Well,
there.
they're all connected, see?
Yep. 38-1, 38-2, and 38-3. That was all one
You
lot.
busted those all up in little camp lots.
And well, that in 91, that was all for sale. They just cut all that wood in there and they sold that for $19,000.
Oh.
And the person that bought it is the one that subdivided. I'm not sure if that's the gentleman that still owns it today or not, but
Charles
me and
Carroll.
my wife first started going out and walked that property and said, nah, we don't, there's all kinds of land for sale, you don't need to buy that.
How do you spell it on that?
$19,000.
Okay, all right.
So you should review this. I mean, we'll have to have this on our agenda every time.
Yep,
Yep.
I read it a couple of times.
So read through this, read the
Yeah.
appendixes and start
Yeah.
filling in some of the blanks as we know them.
Right, right.
Think of a date for a public hearing.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that once we have dollar figures, things will move quickly.
I agree. And, we're not shy at all about public hearing. Let's
No,
get
no.
everybody involved.
Right, yeah.
So they
yeah.
know the process.
So you're gonna call Maine DOT and get a list of appraisers?
Yep, I can do that.
That's good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks. What was the second? Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Where
what I
is-
was trying to look
yeah.
at. It goes the other way, so basically 12.
Oh,
This right here would be 12.
this goes like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sitting right there, right?
Yep. So
Yep,
that,
yeah.
well, that rail is that
That,
one.
yep,
So like
I
that.
see. I see.
Oh,
Okay.
we haven't,
Go ahead.
go ahead, what were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna move on, so if there's something you want.
No, I was done.
Okay, correspondence.
Well, before we finish everything, don't forget we have to do item 3C.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we were
Okay.
waiting for some clarification on the two
Oh, yeah,
Pike
we gotta bring
opinions.
that up and talk about it that way though. We haven't talked about it that way.
Yeah, no, that's
Right.
true.
We need to review that.
Do you wanna do 3C then?
Yep.
Because I haven't actually read,
Alright, so what I
What
have
it actually
done
entails.
that's what I
is, I called MMA and said, look, what if we're not happy with the job that he's done? Do we pay him all of it and then ask, have to sue him for money back? Do we hold it back and make him sue us for money? How do we go about finishing this? And he said, pay him for what you're satisfied that he's completed. And then what he's in question that you're not satisfied with, then, and he said, make sure you send a letter that goes with it explaining this is what you're satisfied with, this is what you're not satisfied with, and then then the ball's in his court, basically. So you should have a letter and an invoice.
Up here.
Oh,
I don't know
Gotta be here.
Is that, what's yours?
Is that?
Yeah, you got, oh, and there's the bill. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Oh, here you go, there's another one.
Oh, that's why I didn't have one.
No, I think you should have one, but.
So we just have the 2 pages, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you just
Okay.
have 2 pages.
Got it.
So the invoice that he sent, I called him and we specifically talked about, right down the list. So he installed 5 culverts. And I also have the contract here, and we know that he did do 5 culverts. And one of them was the French's Mill, that was an extra 20 foot, and he added 700, which I'm okay with that. The ditching, he agreed to drop that to the 2579 because I deducted the amounts for
The
the
culverts.
culvert, the driveway culverts, and he agreed to that. The shoulder work, the road committee had the same exact number, 1479. So that was good. The truck, the excavator, and the gravel, 1 inch minus, this work was the extra work that he came back and did. Now, I asked him to do 3 things. One of them was to dig out the rock that was in the middle of the road. The second thing was to remove the old culvert that was at the end of the old Islesboro Road.
It's still laying there.
That's still laying there, but he did remove it.
It's painted fluorescent orange so somebody could see it and get it out of there.
Yeah, Jimmy did that. And the third thing was to push back the 10 to 15 feet of gravel, break up the pavement and fix the gravel and make a joint, which we know he didn't do that correctly. He didn't understand what I was asking him, and so I had to pay another contractor to come in and
So
repair that.
That's this 225, 340?
Yes,
Okay, I just wanna make sure I'm,
yes.
Okay, and the money that you paid the other contractor is not reflected here
It
anyway?
is not reflected here, it is
Okay.
in the letter.
Okay,
Oh,
all
okay.
right.
In the letter, you'll see the first paragraph was what we're satisfied with. And the second paragraph, large paragraph, says the part of the project the town is dissatisfied with is the 800-foot repair.
but I
Or
also,
rebuild.
if we go back to this for a second,
Okay,
on the driveway culverts,
yep.
he had 5.
He had only done 4.
So that was
He said he
an
did
error.
5.
But when I questioned him, he agreed that he had only done 4.
Oh,
So we talked about it. The 5th one was, he thought he was going to put one in the fields for the newts.
Which has never been.
Which he didn't do.
Didn't need to do it.
And Chris didn't want one there,
Well.
and so that's how he arrived at the 5, but when I questioned him, he said, no, there was only 4. So, in the address, in the paragraph, it says, when asked to repair the tapered ends and make a joint end to ready the section for paving, there seemed to be some misunderstanding regarding what was needed. The town hired an additional contractor to repair the mishap, and that charge to the town was $1,047.50 to remove the broken pavement and add gravel to bring the road to level with the pavement. There may need to be some additional work needed in the spring on this section, so the town is unwilling to pay the balance in full. The town feels that, and I've left that blank, should be the amount deducted to repair the project in the spring. The check you are receiving reflects that deduction. If you have any further questions, please feel free to call. So I need to put a dollar figure in there, or I need to reword that, because he's gonna ask for a check tomorrow. So I have done 2 separate checks. One of them was this, as he's itemized it,
with the corrections.
Okay, so
with the
corrections,
with
like
the corrections
four
that I
culverts.
wrote in there, yeah, the 4
Okay, okay,
culverts,
yeah.
the 2579, the 39,413. That would have paid that in full.
Oh, okay,
You'll see I wrote at the bottom 669 French's Mill.
okay.
He did not put that on the invoice, so I did not pay him, but I did address it in the letter. It's actually the last,
Oh, this is the Spalding
the
piece?
Spalding Hill,
Okay.
the Spalding,
okay, and
yeah.
then I see you have a 1,200 as a negative.
No, that's
No, that's
1,200.
That's 12, no
$100.
cents.
No
No
sense.
sense.
No sense, okay.
That's what is in the contract for that. on
669
Spalding Hill.
French's
Yeah,
Mill Road.
The
correct.
popple log is not here, he just said, don't bill me, bill.
Correct, and so in this, back to the second paragraph then for the satisfactory. Says 1479 feet of shoulder removal on French's Mill at $1.25. The 5 culvert replacements, 4 at $1,400 and 1 at $2,100. 4 driveway culvert replacements at $500 each. Ditching on Silver's Mills at $1.90 a foot for 2579 feet. There were 2 items not included on the invoice. The large boulder riprap where there is a poplar log that's holding the shoulder. We agreed this was not done as asked and there would be no charge to the town. One other item not on the invoice is the
Can we
work
change the
near-
verbiage on that?
on which one?
I don't know, I just don't. The riprap was not done as asked.
How do you
I don't
want
know.
that?
I just wanna make sure that this is worded in a way that if it goes further, we're okay.
Oh,
I mean,
okay,
it was-
well-
It was done,
As referenced in the contract?
it was done very unsatisfactory as reference or
Well,
something.
no, see, in the contract it says large boulder riprap.
Okay.
Okay.
And so I can say was not done
Okay,
per
as long as,
contract.
that's what I just wanna
Right.
make sure.
Yep, that's better, that's better.
And he actually, he quickly said, don't worry about it, I'm
Right.
okay.
And so then one other item not on the invoice is the work near 669 French's Mill. I believe this may have been an oversight on your part. Please send an invoice for this item.
And I think that shows really good faith on your part.
As well.
So, what we wanted, I did 2 invoices, one of them for the 39, 413.85, which would have paid in full. The other one is for 16,448.85, and that includes everything that we are satisfied with. So one was warrant 190 and one is warrant 197. That's why there are 2 warrants there. So we can void one and keep the other. And then this letter, we have to kind of finish
I
this
see.
to go with this check.
I get it.
So do we want to fill in the blank? Do we want to say,
So if I total all this up with your adjustments, it comes to the 39.
39.
on the invoice? Yes.
With the 1,200.
I don't believe it, no, not with the 1,200.
Okay, so that's just, you're showing that
What she anticipates he's gonna accept, because that was in the
for the
original
invoice you
request.
asked
Yeah.
for.
Right, that's
Right.
why I'm confused, because we
Okay,
have
me
a
too.
$40,000 number,
Yeah.
then I have a $1,200 number, then I have 39.
Right,
The 1,200, I added that number in there,
just so that,
just so that I would know that it's not on here. This is my writing.
What is the 40,000 number, is his original writing?
total,
Yes.
that's his total.
That's their
Okay,
total,
now-
40,000.
Way better. So that now the 39,000 is your adjusted number, but not including the 1,200.
Right,
Correct.
that's that number and that
Okay.
number instead of that number.
And that includes-
You should have a line to that.
That includes full payment
Yes.
on the gravel
You're
road,
right.
800
That's
feet
why I-
of 22.4.
That
should
is
be
correct.
there.
Yeah,
This is NA, cause it's not
Right.
included, or not NI
Right.
or whatever. This should be a scratch. Okay, now I'm on the right page.
yeah.
I added that up in my head like 10 times, and I'm not coming close.
You caught some errors tonight, that's a good job.
I know, he's spot on.
So the question for the board is, how do we want to address the 22.4?
That is correct,
And we've already given this some discussion tonight.
correct.
There's some, I think it's fair to say, some ambiguity as to how much the solution may cost.
Correct.
So, as the town manager, I think once your confidence level is very high, then you will know how to proceed. But I don't think you know that yet.
Right, I mean,
If
I don't know what they want, how you want to fix it. That's my biggest thing.
Well, no, you gotta look at this you can't look at it that way. You gotta, right now, we've sent out a job, and this is where we're at.
Right,
So, if Pike says, if he says you're gonna be okay in that, you clean it up in the spring, get it smooth, we can lay hot top. If that's the case, then what I feel we need to do is you're gonna have to call somebody and get a price. What's it gonna cost us in the spring to run a grader over it? And whatever Pike or the contractor gives you for a realistic number if he thinks you might need to add a little gravel to smooth it out. That's one scenario.
But you wouldn't deduct that from him.
What's that?
You're not gonna deduct that from him.
From
Herrick,
Harris.
no, cause I think
Because if
even,
it was, I'm thinking I would, because if this was compacted right, it would have
Well, the
pavement on it.
compaction was a dual, we
That-
weren't as specific as we wanted to be. And so we kind of agreed to him to, the compaction was a coin toss. And it turns out, looks like you can't really compact very well with a truck, because there's nowhere near a foot of gravel over there now.
But what I'm saying
Another
is,
story.
if this would've gone compacted well, we would have had hot top on this, we would not be eating the grading cost and gravel cost next year.
For the spring,
For
in the spring.
So we could pave it.
He actually asked us, Pike asked us to grade it. He came to look at it the week before
Yes,
he
he
was
did.
due, and he said, I need you to run a grader over this before.
Even
Sure.
a little tiny bit of
I
wash.
mean, it was washboard, so
That's
I
what
mean,
I'm
I
saying,
can't
so
say
that's-
that was the contractor's fault though. I mean, that was just the road, because it's a gravel
The
road.
bigger item,
If it would have been compacted,
we would have paved it.
you wouldn't have had to grade it again. Cause that's why you got this washboard, because you were compacting it more every time cars drove over.
However, if it had been compacted, based on what we were told originally, if the pavement was not sufficiently broken up underneath those two tails, we would have been paving it. We would have had to fix it. And this really is the crux, whether that is necessary or not. Everyone has said it to us is necessary up until today. And
Right.
now a supposed expert says it's not a big deal. The problem is, the difference between necessary and not necessary is like
It's a big
$12,000 to
difference.
$15,000.
Right.
It's not like a little thing, it's not
Right,
like
right.
bringing a grader in and just tweaking it. That's my big concern.
So, and this, Chet, when he came in, is that he came in specifically for that purpose, to evaluate that?
No, he
area?
just
To
came
give
in
us a
and that was
calendar.
part
He
of
came
the
in to give a calendar, and I just kinda shanghaied him.
Oh,
I go back to Jeff.
oh,
Jeff
yeah, I
said, if
will.
your contractors have questions, call me.
oh, yeah.
You know what I would do is I would call Jeff and I would let him know what this other guy told me. And
Yes.
said, how about I meet both of you right out there
Yes.
tomorrow
Right.
night?
And he
Like
may
that
say,
plan.
oh,
Put them
Or
both at the same
Jeff knows
spot.
calendars,
Yeah.
I don't know calendars, or whatever, but that's the whole crux of this thing.
aha.
So in the meantime, you need a course of direction with Mr. Herrick.
Right.
Correct.
I would tell him exactly what you're doing.
So-
I'll pay you for this, but this piece here,
Right.
I'm holding out until because
Yes.
it's too big a discrepancy.
Yes.
But I still wanna keep in there the 1,047 that we had.
Oh, yes,
to.
the
That
rest of your
part's gonna
narrative
stay
is
in
spot
there.
on, I agree with all of it.
So
So what do you?
rather than put a dollar amount in here, I would, cause I need this to go out tomorrow. I need to just say, we're doing further research to see if
Correct.
there are
Okay,
any
so
additional fees.
I'm looking at this right now.
Yep,
What are you recommending that we officially pay?
Yeah,
And what
let's
are you
go
saying?
down, let's
Oh,
just
Yes.
quickly go down and, so we can check them off.
the 7,000,
Yes, okay.
700,
Okay,
the 4,910 cents,
Mm-hmm,
okay,
the 1848.75,
okay.
the 220,
No, I have,
nope, not that one. The 2,000,
mm-hmm.
travel culverts, okay. Alright, so what's that total?
it should be 16,448.85, but that's not,
No, I don't think it's
that's
that
not
much.
coming out. Yes, it is.
Well, if I take your 39.41.3 and deduct 224, does that do it?
No, cause that's the two,
Mm-mm, you have to subtract the 40 and the 300 and the 225.
Oh, okay.
Does it add up?
I got 16,448.85.
There you go.
yes,
There you go.
that's
that
what
what
the
you
two,
wanted?
yes.
Psychic.
There you go.
Now you know when we're
So
all on the same
that, I think that's
Yeah,
what
and
we
I
pay.
would assure him that we're gonna have resolution on this shortly. We're not gonna drag this out till Christmas.
Right.
Right,
page. Okay, well, let's talk about this a little further though.
more research,
Okay,
resolution surely.
so this is is this C, which, is that the first number we had under C?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
so the warrant, this would be warrant 197 that you want to approve,
Okay.
and
Now,
And that has the amount that corresponds to the C,
That's the
okay.
16,448.85.
so you're gonna, so the way this is gonna work tomorrow, you're gonna explain to Mr. Harrop, you're gonna pay that,
The 16,448,
okay, and you're gonna have a conversation
I'm gonna
with,
send a letter.
okay, so you're not really gonna talk to him, you're gonna send a letter.
I've talked to him,
Okay, well, no, so we're gonna have Pikes, that's gonna discuss the 22,400,
yes.
okay? That's gonna take care of that section. Now we still have another section I think we should talk about.
The 225, the 300, and the 40?
Correct.
That was that little,
$565, right?
yes.
Okay.
That-
That cost us $1,047.50.
To fix it.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're not paying him that and then deducting the fix? Is that what we're doing?
No, this is why I think we ought to have,
Yeah,
does Mr.
okay.
Herrick know that we spent $1,000 to fix the 500 that he charged us?
No, he does not.
Okay,
Okay, I
That he
think,
so-
doesn't. He knows I had Steve come and do it.
right, but that amount of money that Dale's referencing, is that part of your 16,000?
no,
No.
Oh, okay,
No,
shouldn't
no,
be.
no, no.
Okay,
No.
no, that's.
and you deducted the cost of repair from that 16,000?
No,
No, that will be deducted from the 22,400, this remaining.
part of
bill.
Okay,
800
that's fine,
feet.
yep, all right.
but I just, whether or not you want it verbiaged, and I wanna make sure that I would break that out, or do some, I know you have it here.
Well, so I need to reference that the 800-foot is 22,400,
Right.
and then,
And then we would
am I
charge an
including this
additional,
additional?
I would verbiage that in there. That,
Fees,
that after conversations that where he was asked to retaper,
yeah,
there was an additional fee of $565. Then I would say something about the work was.
It was an error,
It was unpassable.
yeah, it
I mean,
was,
seriously, you could not drive,
you certainly couldn't drive a motorcycle over it.
Whoa,
I wouldn't put your convertible over it,
wow.
you'd still been there, I mean,
No, it was,
it was bad.
but he was, it seemed like he was pretty candid that he didn't really realize what was expected.
was.
He said, I didn't know.
yeah.
So we
But I think
fixed,
somehow with that verbiage needs to be in there, because the next step after this letter.
Yep,
Cause you're gonna send him this check for this instead of that, and then the next letter, I'm assuming, in my opinion, is whatever the verbiage from Pike is gonna be. And then we're gonna talk about this extra $1,000 that we had to pay.
yeah, I would say at the even if Pike comes back and says, don't worry about it, it's not a big deal, he's at least gonna see $1,000 hit for the
That's right.
repair.
Right.
that's right.
So,
Right.
that's,
I think there's that, and there's the conversation of, in the spring, you're still gonna eat a grading bill, regardless. Just saying.
I think we're gonna be doing a lot of work over there. I think we're gonna be adding gravel, I think it's gonna be graded anyway, but if,
Oh,
I think we're gonna add gravel because of the fact that we wanna change.
Correct.
The difference of,
Right,
we're gonna
The
change,
scope.
we're gonna tweak the project.
right,
correct.
right,
I don't
so
think we need
it's
a
gonna
lot,
have to be
but-
graded.
Yeah, it would have
right,
to be
it would have to be
graded.
graded anyway, so.
If he had done it correctly the first time.
Correct.
However, these other issues would have precluded us from paving it anyway.
If you would've done everything perfectly,
We would be paved.
it would've been paved, you would not have this conversation.
No, I agree with that, but there were a lot of things that were not perfect, so.
Correct.
I think this is a good start.
I do, and I think we're being very, very fair.
I agree.
Right,
And it's-
we're not saying we're not gonna pay you any of it, we're just saying we're gonna do some research.
It needs to
and-
be resolved.
We have to protect the town.
That's right.
If this is a $15,000 mistake, then we have to deal with it. If
That's
it's
right.
not, then it's not a problem, but
But if possible, at our next meeting, I would like to be able to have this final.
I would too.
Me too.
Okay, I just.
Yeah.
That's a
we're
big
all
one.
on that
Throwing
same
it
page.
off.
Yeah,
Yes, I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
wanna,
yeah,
No, and
That's
plus we know what we're dealing with next spring,
right.
so. Because quite frankly, if this ends up in limbo, we gotta put this in our budget. If we let's say we have a $15,000 repair, that's part of next year's budget.
correct.
And this will stay in limbo until it's resolved.
Well, not only that, if this doesn't get paid, you're gonna have to budget it for next year.
That's right,
You got
that's
it.
right.
That's another $40,000 worth of gravel you gotta pre-order. Cause we gotta get rid of it out of this one.
Right,
All right,
I wanna
right,
use it.
so I need a motion to approve warrant 197 and void warrant 190.
I'll make a motion to approve warrant 197 and to void warrant 190.
Second.
any further discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. That was a good job, Lois, walking us through that minefield.
All right.
Buried my agenda.
I just did the same thing, it's like, okay,
Oh, no.
correspondence, I think is where
I
we're.
did
Yes,
have
we
that
are
one.
in correspondence.
Well, I got it right on the top. How to do
Okay,
that.
there you go.
So we did that one.
You know, people would have time to eat dinner and still come see it.
That's right, that's right,
Well, that's why,
And
that's right. And not have to sit
I've
here
had
and
a
listen.
resident that's mentioned several times in the office, you know, your meeting's at 5, I'm like,
Come.
we're still there at 7:30.
Yeah,
Nobody
yeah.
shows up.
That's right,
No,
that's
and,
right.
and if you wanna speak, we will stay until.
That's right.
Yep. Anyway, all right.
What item number is this?
Number 9, correspondence.
Item
can we
nine.
back
You
up?
know-
I'm curious to this conversation. When you said that to the residents, that we're still here at 7:30, was there no interest of showing?
No,
Okay.
I mean, the question is, do you move item 4 to the very end?
Yeah, I
So-
have no problem with that. I mean,
Exactly,
I
that's what I
can't imagine
said.
either
I
of
said I
you would
can-
object
we can
if someone
yeah.
came in late and said,
Right.
oh, did you wanna say something?
Right.
But I have no, if someone came in now, I'd offer that to them.
Right,
We can add in an agenda, we could add that anytime, whenever.
right.
Right.
We normally put it at the beginning because
Right.
it's more convenient
And
for
then
them.
people can leave.
But if someone shows
Exactly.
up and they want an opportunity, I can't imagine us, we've never said to
Absolutely.
anyone they couldn't speak.
Right,
Well,
Right.
you know, what you could do is, we could add that.
Yeah.
After every single line item.
Add what?
an open session.
Open session.
Oh, open session.
Put one in the beginning and put one at the end,
Yeah, I like that.
right?
Open session at the beginning and open
Yep.
session at the end.
That's right.
It'll
And
just be
it'll-
on our
it'll-
agenda.
It
every-
allows
Yep.
for
Then
people
nobody
to
could
come.
say that.
That's right,
there
I
was-
would have come at 7:30,
that's
but I
right,
couldn't talk then.
that's right.
I don't think that's been a grouse. No one said that.
No.
I just don't think people realize how long we work at these meetings.
That's right.
Anyway,
There you go. So we solved that problem.
Do you want me to put it on there twice, really?
Yeah,
Sure.
I would. I would.
and I think it should be twice because we don't wanna discourage people that think they have to wait till 7:30.
That's right.
We'll
So
give you
once
one
it-
at the beginning, we'll give you one at the end.
Yep.
Actually, we'll give it to you when you show
Fine,
up.
start.
That's why I was kinda being a smart person.
Yeah, no, I get what
If
you're
you
saying.
put it after every single one of them.
Sprinkle a few in there.
Yeah, I mean, no, seriously, whenever,
Right.
then you would know, if you showed up, we're willing to
You're
come.
right, that they don't have
We
to
don't
sit
need to
and
go to that
listen,
extreme,
right, but
Yeah, and in fact,
We're
we could leave
flexible.
it the way it is and you could make some notation like that.
Like
If you
flexible.
show up after open session, you will be granted time to speak.
Right.
I can put it down at the bottom.
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
with an, yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
As long as we haven't adjourned and
Yep.
someone shows up, we're willing to, listen to them.
So, correspondence.
Yes. I have something from the DECD about manufacturing. I don't think we have any manufacturing. They wanna know if there are any sites that are no longer being inhabited.
Say that again?
This, is that this?
No, this
No.
is DECD.
What do they mean by that?
They recently, to develop an inventory of non-productive industrial or manufacturing sites. That's what they want, to develop an inventory of non-productive industrial or manufacturing sites.
We don't have
So
anything
we
that
don't
would fall
have
into that
anything. I mean-
category.
I'm curious to the definition of that before I would.
And why do they want?
It's a,
Well, there's probably
I
grant
mean,
money,
do
seed
you-
money.
Do you qualify like Christmas tree, there's a lot of wreath makers?
no, I'm
that
thinking like the
manufac-
Yeah,
smokestack or something like that.
I am as well, but that's why I'm just curious of what they are defining under that.
I know Abbey Fowler wouldn't fall under that.
No,
No.
But if number all were vacant, that would be an example.
Or if the sawmill.
Yep. Yep.
but I think it has to meet a certain square footage too.
But I think there's.
Face
I think
God
it does
next,
say something in there.
100,000 square feet.
Does it say? I'm
Is that
not
really what
there
that
so
is?
far.
I'm fascinated every time I drive by that, and what condition that roof's still in. So, other than the side of the grass is growing on it, the tree, but the main roof actually,
Sites
pretty good.
address. Huh, that's interesting.
Does it have any,
No.
That's it?
oh no.
big.
Oh, no.
It's
Oh,
very
no.
big.
Hamlin and Associates sent over their contract. Of course, it doesn't expire until March, but they did it for budgetary purposes because they are going up.
Oh,
to
how much?
16,000 even. It's a difference of $20 a month.
So it's probably time to
research that a little bit?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
little,
See what our options
little
are?
due diligence.
Cause typically, we've signed that like January, I mean, we signed that, don't we sign that very early in the year?
Hey,
It does have a spot to sign, but it's not valid until, for the period April 1st to March 31st.
I'm pretty certain that we've typically signed that right like January. Right in the beginning of the year that was signed. Not saying we have to.
No.
That's what we've done in the
No.
past.
Okay.
Obviously, we don't have to do it until,
April 1st.
April 1st. Save the date and nominate. This is the American Red Cross a Real Heroes Breakfast. So if you know somebody that is should be recognized as a hero, teachers, military personnel, first responders, everyday citizens demonstrated acts of heroism, courage, kindness, and unselfish character and service to others. We can nominate them if you think of anybody that's outstanding. You've got the MRC. And that's it.
additional agenda items?
Yeah, I have two, actually. So Zach came in, was asking for the check, Herrick, and we talking about the grading, and he said he would be willing to grade by the hour for $95 an hour, and then his rock rake is included on his grader, but he uses the straight blade, and if you were to estimate by the mile, it'd be about $600 a mile.
just curious, where does that fall into what you had?
The only other one I had is $130 an hour, but it's the carbide tips, and I think it was like $760 a mile or something, $780.
And what was that a mile?
600. 600.
Oh, 600.
And
That's
this
it,
has-
they're
this has
trying
the
to
rate-
approximate their rate
I
with
see,
the
I
mileage,
see.
but it's really by the hour.
Hour.
Yeah.
Ah,
This.
Both mileage ones are approximate, right? I mean,
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah. He says he has a rock rake on there. When I met with the road committee, they don't feel that it's adequate to have a rock rake on the grader. You know what? Differing of opinions, I tell you what.
Oh, boy.
Oh my lord.
Better you than all.
Yeah, I know.
So, some people feel that, some of them felt the town can do it with the rock rake because we have the rock rake, that this would be a waste. He did say he would go over it more times, I think, with the rake on it. So, it's gonna take more hours.
I
So,
can't,
that's
I
right.
can't believe we can't rake cheaper than, I
Yeah.
mean, depending
Right.
on the skill level in the truck,
Right.
so.
So that was, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the
There is
bid
a
that we
difference
got,
between a
what-
rock rake on a grader and a rock rake that you don't mind picking.
Yeah, well, it was
Yes.
funny, I went behind the guys last year in the grader and on our, with our equipment, our rake, and they were essentially having to get out after
Yeah.
any softball sized rock, they were gonna get out of the truck, pick it up, throw it
pick it
down the
up.
road.
That's right.
So
That's- I've
the
seen
rake
that.
wasn't
I've
really
seen that.
grabbing big stuff.
We don't
No.
have, we don't have an adequate. We don't have you can't put, that's what I'm saying, the rake that they're gonna do on that equipment is not in the same conversation that what we're gonna do with our rake.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well,
you
and
are,
then one of
correct.
the other gentlemen in the road committee, and I don't remember who it was, said that if you have a good grader operator, you don't need a rock rake.
Well, Phil
So-
was saying,
So-
he was going on about operators.
Oh.
That's
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
secret
yeah,
sauce.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, but how do you know that?
The one with the carbide tip, so would we then have to rock rake after the carbide tip grading?
Probably, I would think
You
so.
can,
You're gonna either way,
either
Okay,
way,
all right.
it doesn't
Okay.
matter.
it's gonna,
Okay, so we have to work, that's part of the grading.
correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
Phil refers to, you have either a grader operator or a grader driver.
But it's no different than any other equipment. I mean,
That's right.
Yep.
The second thing I have, Tom Carone is part of the Historical Society, and he wanted to get permission from the board that they do the dinner at town meeting.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
oh.
And they
Nice.
said it's the fundraiser for the Historical Society, it's by donation, and
They all
typically.
set with that? Is that a motion then?
Um,
Or that
he
you
seemed,
think?
he seemed to make it sound like he needed a motion.
Well,
and
here's the
approval
question,
from the
is
board.
there another group vying for that?
No.
Is there,
Never been,
No.
they've always done it.
oh, they've always done, okay.
Always done.
Oh, so I'll make a motion that the Historic Society,
Yeah, no, I was just, didn't we have, this town meeting was so short that, and I don't think that's gonna be the case this year.
Oh,
but
so
where-
it was too early. It was
yeah,
like 10 o'clock in the
nobody
morning.
stayed to eat.
Yeah.
But that's not really
That's
our
not our
problem.
issue.
Yes,
No.
no, but yeah, I'm
Actually,
sorry.
that would be, if you talk to Tom, you wanna ask him about that.
Yeah, so that they get a good attendance.
Yeah,
They may wanna do a
Maybe-
brunch.
or maybe we wanna think about that when we set the time,
Set it for 10.
depending on what our
I-
warrant looks like.
I have a feeling the warrant's gonna be fat this year. So this is gonna be a fairly long meeting.
So I'll make a motion that we approve
Yeah,
Second.
okay,
Yep, what
the
she-
Historic Society to provide the dinner for the town meeting.
it's unanimous.
Okay.
Well, if we're gonna add, we might as well add another one. Where, just a question, really more so than anything. Where are we at as far as tree lighting or tree and the wreath and normal stuff that usually happens for Christmas?
The tree's up
Okay,
and the lights I think are on and the wreaths are out
Where's the tree?
on the monument.
Oh,
So apparently there's discussion on trees and lights and wreaths.
bought all new ones last year, if I remember right.
Well, Butch donated a tree.
Yep.
So we put it up
Yep,
and we have to purchase the wreaths from Halls
yep,
at a discounted rate.
sure.
And that was fine. So that we got the 236 and the 114 because that's what we've always done. We got the tree because that's what we've always done. But when Rick put the tree up and he had the wreath and he asked Ed Grant, where does the wreath go? Ed's like, we don't, he prefers, in the future, he prefers only the wreath, not the tree. Because the tree sits in front of the monument where the wreath would go, so the wreath isn't on the monument. The wreath actually now is on the town garage because we didn't,
Where else can we put the tree?
well, and that was it. Don't put a tree up. I don't know.
I don't wanna not, because
Because it's donated.
well, it isn't even that, but it's not a whole lot, but at least we can do as far as I'm concerned, put a tree.
Well, last
You got a
year the
whole big
wreath
hill up
wasn't
there.
behind the tree.
Well, no, I think somebody's got the tree in the wrong spot.
Well, last year the tree was in front of the monument. I actually went up and took pictures of it. There was no wreath on the monument.
No, they put it on the town garage last year.
So, I mean, the question is, maybe we have another location for a wreath, maybe on the front of some of the stained glass, or, I mean.
We have one on the front of the building, we have one on the door, a big one on the front, it's 36, and then the other 36, he put on the town garage.
All right, well, maybe we don't need the other 36.
Right,
Maybe we just need the tree and a big wreath.
I'm fine with that.
But I don't think we wanna do away with the
I
tree.
don't wanna do away with the tree.
you don't want to, okay.
I'm not that much of a Scrooge.
No, that's, it's kinda pretty up there on that elevated spot.
and
Yeah.
the fire department we don't worry about.
Then nobody said fire
Okay.
department does anything,
Okay.
so.
Okay, I was just thinking about a place for a wreath instead of the town garage. Doesn't matter. Okay. Good.
We, no, we did it last year. I don't know if it's a yearly thing or not. Didn't we do pizza or something last year? Meaning
There was
us,
a
What, for our last
a
meeting?
company, like a town,
town employees.
the employees, a
Oh,
little festivus.
Yeah, Selectmen
that's
actually
nice.
got the pizza for.
oh, that's nice. That's very
It
nice.
was, can't remember if it was the week before or,
It was during the week, and you're right, I think it was like the week before, one afternoon.
yeah. I don't know what you got for vacations or whatever, but I'm in
Pick a
favor of
day.
that.
Yep.
Pick a day and we'll do that.
I don't think there's any, you mean people going on vacation?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's planning on any.
Yeah, if you wanna figure out what would work for you and
Yeah,
everybody.
pick a day.
That is fine.
Yep.
Don't care, whatever.
I mean, if you
I
wanna
would like to
do
do
the
something.
20th, well, Wednesdays Doreen leaves early,
Correct.
so if you want any other day, I think we're all
When you
here.
say Wednesday, it leaves early, what time? I mean, before noon?
She lives around noon. I was thinking the 20th is our next board meeting, you could come in, but Alvina leaves at 3.
Well, I'm thinking
Does-
Wednesday actually at
3:30.
noon would almost work
Wednesday at noon?
11:30.
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be better? Cause the office is closed and then both the girls and you could all.
Yep.
Without people coming in and out?
yep.
Yeah, but do they wanna come in on their day off?
There you are.
We work on Wednesday.
Wednesday.
We're not
We do
open.
work it.
But basically,
We get so much done, it's so
Kidding.
nice.
Oh, okay, well, yeah, I mean, figure out what works for you guys. I mean, do we join them or no?
Yeah, it's nice
Oh.
to show up and
Oh,
share a piece of
okay.
pizza with them.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, you're paying for it.
I didn't know if we just provided it and then they can.
That's what we did
sit
last
around
year
and talk.
anyway. I don't really know officially
That's
what.
great.
I don't know, and like I said, I know what happened last year. I don't know if it's a yearly thing or not, but I thought it was an alright thing to do.
Yep,
Yeah. Nice.
all right, so you'll kinda
You'll,
coordinate that.
So the December 20th,
So the 20th, we've got that, and we've got, executive session at 4:30, and then our meeting at 5. So all of that is on the 20th.
oh, that's right. That's right. So starting there,
Basically here from 12 o'clock on.
can you do that?
Or do you wanna move pizza day to a separate day?
I don't wanna move pizza day.
Okay.
I just don't leave that on. I think it's better to do it on a Wednesday when there's not people in and out.
Yeah,
Sure,
yeah,
otherwise they
yeah.
can't sit and enjoy it. I
Right.
wanna register my truck.
That's right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
And
agree.
you know how
Yeah, and
that's
it's not-
Now,
exactly.
but you
it's
could
not
do it the
professional.
following Wednesday, which would be after Christmas.
No, no,
But it wasn't.
forget it.
It's not gonna work.
Yep.
We're kinda committed.
Yeah, no, I think we just do it. Now,
Okay.
I mean, there will be a time there where if one of us, if we wanna leave and come back at 4:30, we'll have time to do that. but-
Right.
yeah.
Okay, that's what it's gonna look like.
So, so you ordered the pizza, how does that work? They do
Yeah,
it?
whatever.
Yeah.
That's how we did last year,
Okay,
actually.
good.
We order it?
Yeah, you, whatever,
Whatever you
figure out
want.
what you need.
We-
Be 7 of us, right? Look at me as one piece, cause I don't usually eat
So
every day, so.
Rick too, so we
Yeah.
should get 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm one slice.
Rick doesn't eat, lunch either,
I think he was in for a piece of two,
was he?
yeah. But I think that's what happened last year, is everybody saw, oh, our guy's there. Yeah, man, we don't need that much pizza.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a luncheon, not really a sit-down supper meal, so.
Right.
right, yeah, just a piece.
Anything else? No executive session today,
I don't need one.
nor do we. I think we can adjourn.
I'll make the motion that we adjourn.
A second?
It's unanimous.